All right, it says I'm live. I am live. I'm going to share a screen here. I'm going to talk about some stuffs. You guys want to talk about some stuffs? I want to talk about some stuffs. Let's talk about some stuffs. Stuff Sweet's going to talk about is, we're going to talk about, well, what the hell? Let's see. Let's see what this guy's going to talk about.
Greenland in what could be a pivotal election for the Danish Overseas Territory. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen cast his ballot at the only polling station in the capital. The 31 lawmaker voters chose will shape the island's next 4 years. The independence from Denmark remains a contentious issue, as well as Donald Trump's threats to take over the island. Greenland has just over 57,000 people, but many fear the world's largest island is fast becoming a pawn in a much larger geopolitical game due to its strategic position in the Arctic. I'm joined now by Marcus Valentin, a journalist at the Greenlandic Broadcasting Corporation. Welcome to you. The Prime Minister's party is in what sort of position do we think, and what would a victory for him mean in the independence debate?
Well, most likely the Prime Minister's party will be the winners of this election, and we are right now, we don't know what the results are going to be. It's only much later that we'll get the results, but most likely he will form a broad coalition with parties from that are not that interested in a quick independence movement from Greenland right now. In Western media, a lot of people have talked about this being a referendum about if it's going to be independence right now, here and now. But the politicians are more thinking about how can we use this election as a leverage over Denmark to negotiate a new agreement with Denmark, and new terms for mainly resources in mining, so the Greenlanders can keep more of their resources than they can today with the agreement with Denmark. So that will be the main thing that they will go after.
Yeah, part of Greenland's hand here is the resources, as you mentioned. The Prime Minister has previously been pretty cautious when it comes to exploring mining resources in Greenland. Is that changing with the increased interest shown by the US in these resources?
Well, I think the premise for the question is a bit wrong, because the Prime Minister hasn't been that cautious. The last election he won, and his party, IA, won because there was a huge debate about the southern parts of Greenland where they wanted to mine uranium, and the Prime Minister's party were strongly against that mine. But all in all, the past 4 years, this term for Naalakkersuisut, the Greenlandic government, they've tried their best to travel around the world, talk with mining companies, hold big meetings with mining companies and interested
This shitty audio
businesses here in Greenland to get the mining industry working. But it's a hard thing up here in Greenland because transportation is expensive, and
Okay, what he just said is, okay, Denmark controls that country right now. God, they are free. They can do better than America could ever do for them. And they want independence, and they can do for themselves better than America can do for them. But what he just said is they can't. Here, let's go over this again, because I know a lot of people just didn't quite hear that. So let's go through this again. Let's listen to this gentleman.
The mining industry working, but it's a hard thing for businesses here in Greenland to get the mining industry working. But it's a hard thing up here in Greenland because transportation is expensive, and you need to build new infrastructure. So nothing.
Okay, it's a hard thing. Did you hear him? He lives there. He's a Greenlander. He's going to be voting for independence or whatever the hell they got to vote for. But you know what else he said? It's a hard thing. You've got to build infrastructure. Doing it their way, yes, you do. Thank God there's this company, an American company, stock ticker, put it right there. It's called NEE. They have this thing called a Zeus. It's a micro nuclear reactor. It is, and I've done videos on this, and people who aren't not watching me can validate this. They can go back and watch my videos, and they can do research on what I say because I give them names of the companies so they can do their own independent research. And you can find out that the infrastructure cost of mining is very, very expensive, just like this independent Greenland news journalist said. It's very expensive. It's hard to do. But if you get America involved, you don't have to worry about any of that because we have the infrastructure. We have the capability. We have everything that Greenland doesn't have. We have, hey, what's up, Silver Love God Patriot, and also Silver Scars and Nickel. We have all that stuff. Not only that, when it comes, hey, Pete and repeat, when it comes to the heavily expensive infrastructure and the hard to get resources to do all this mining, if you guys have been watching my program, watching my shows, I'll tell you this one more time. Micro nuclear reactors. They're selling them like wildfire to places like Greenland to start mines so they don't have to do the infrastructure. The glory of American technology being brought to a country that cannot take care of their own infrastructure, that cannot afford to. Denmark cannot afford to. Greenland cannot afford to. They don't have what it takes to take advantage of all of this great stuff they have. Hey, what's up, Hunter? In their country. They can't afford to do any of it. They have to have a larger country do it for them. So if anyone thinks that they can do it on their own, this gentleman right here, who is a Greenlander, he was born there, he lives there, is raised there, and he also is a news broadcaster there. He says,
nothing comes easy. So they've always been open for business, as they usually say, and for having more lines, but doing it more eco-friendly as they can.
Right.
Eco-friendly. What could be more than eco-friendly than a micro-nuclear reactor from nanonuclear energy here based in America to be put to Greenland, to make these places efficiently accessible without having to take the infrastructure that he spoke of, for which we will go back and listen to. What did he say? He was somewhere back here. He said it was highly expensive, very, very expensive.
Big meetings with mining companies, but it's a hard thing up here in Greenland because transportation is expensive, and
transportation's no problem if you don't have to leave the mining site.
You need to build new infrastructure.
No infrastructure needed with micronuclear.
So nothing comes easy.
It's all easy if you bring America in. Like I'm saying, guys, it's like this. Hey, what's up, Deja Vu? Denmark can't afford to do it. Greenland damn sure can't afford to do it. They are sitting on so many resources. America, here you go, Nickel. Here's something for you. It's called politics. America doesn't have to do anything except for watch them implode and have the rest of the world sit there and salivate saying, we need those resources. And then what's going to happen is the rest of the world is going to come to America and say, please take it over. And there'll be political leveraging going on, forcing Denmark, not by America. See, the only thing, the art of the deal, you need to read the art of the deal. All America had to do, all Trump had to do was introduce the subject. Everyone else sees the validity of it. They sees the issues that they cannot overcome without another country going in there and doing it. And then all of a sudden America says, no, we're not going to do it. You guys don't want us to. And then all of a sudden the rest of the world says, fuck you, we need you to. And then we do it. That's called politics, Nickel. And I'm not even a politician. And I know that much. So, you gotta, yeah, I know China comes and they pay for everything. Let's look how well that does for them. Luckily for the rest of the world, not in Nickel's world, but in the rest of the world, we have 15 years of looking at what the Belt Road Initiative does for countries. If you've been paying attention to the world and my videos, you'll know I've done videos on this. Pakistan's going bankrupt. Kenya's going bankrupt. Every country that joins the One Belt Road Initiative goes bankrupt. As a matter of fact, Italy said that they signed up for it for 1 year. They signed up for it. And after 1 year, they said, oh, fuck you, Bo. We ain't got nothing to do with this. You want to know why? Because it's a bankrupt deal. And anyone signs up for it goes bankrupt. And we have a 15-year history of looking back. If you have eyes that can see and you have ears that can hear and you're not blotted by your own foolishness, you will understand that what's happening is China is going bankrupt because they can't keep building these billion-dollar things and giving them and saying, okay, well, we'll take control of it now. And we own it now. They can't keep doing that. It's not legitimate. They can't keep taking and spending $1 billion not getting paid back for it, waiting 100 years to get paid back for it, for them to profit from it. They've done it 11 times and every country's gone bankrupt. That means all that money they have to take. Different topic. Oh, wait, but no live stream. Different topics might not get a strike over. New streaming look good. I'm sorry, I'm seeing YouTube's. I had to look at their shit because I'm just getting over a strike. Sorry, guys. And I also had to let's see, do my typical, which I obviously already forgot to do, which is pin the link at the top. And that's what I was doing right now, except for Nickel. I don't want anyone up here who's going to talk stupid shit. You got to have some understanding of how things are going. I'm not just going to have someone up here who wants to record someone saying a liberal recording just certain things so you can play back. Say, well, see, you said this, taking it totally out of context. That's not at all what I want. Okay. So if you're going to come up here on live stream, talk about legitimate issues, you're more than welcome to. If you're going to keep talking about how China is the richest country in the world and they're not already bankrupt, for which I've also done a video. Yes, they actually are bankrupt. They're, let's see, twice as much. They've got $72 trillion of debt. America only has 36 trillion, and we're going to die because of it, but they're going to thrive because of it. What fucking kind of world do people live in to think that they can be in twice as much debt as us, half as big as us, half as influential as us, not even have a world reserve currency, and they're going to survive and thrive at twice a debt, killing off 500 million other people during COVID, unsubstantiated numbers. Maybe, 14 trillion, bazillion, goddamn, millions. They've got all the gold in the world, and we still have more. So now that we know they have all the gold in the world, we have 7 worlds worth of gold. We have 33,000 tons of gold underneath our feet. Have you ever heard of leverage? Dun, dun, dun. That's how we're going to do it. Here, hold on. Let me show you another video here because people just don't get it. Hold on a second here. Let me wake up a couple people in this chat that just don't get it. They've been slapped upside the head with it and they still don't get it. See, it's called, and the reason why I said we have 33 tons, which by the way is how many tons over that is 8,000 tons. China's got 8,000. We've got 33,000. Okay, 33,000 tons. What's 33,000 tons going to do for us? Let me share screen. And I will tell you what 33,000 tons of gold will do for us. Because obviously, someone in this chat doesn't have a clue.
Rewrite the U.S. financial system, and nobody's even talking about it. Now, for
nobody's even talking about it, Nickel.
Government is
oh my God!
Endorsing digital assets and stable coins, and they're
hold on. Digital assets. That means
a major role.
That means
Treasury Secretary Scott
tokenize.
just said, "quote." We are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
We are going to tokenize. What are we going to tokenize? In-ground assets. So China might have 8,000, but we've got 33 tons of gold. So we've got 4 times as much gold. And you know what happens when you tokenize them? Hold on. Let's go back here, Nickel, wake you up to the reality of what's going on. Tokenization, crypto, all this good stuff.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Wow.
They have 2 ways to do this. One of them is a complete government-controlled system, but the other, it could take us back to a financial model from over 200 years ago, where banks competed to issue their own money.
Now, if this happens, there's this weird cryptocurrency that's got a government contract. It's known as Cardano, ADA. They actually are a bank. In their mission statement, when they started that crypto, they stated they were going to be a bank. Now you're hearing this guy here say, oh, there's going to be banks. That's one way they can do it.
System that some call chaotic, but others say was one of the greatest golden ages of financial innovation. So
the golden age is coming, and they're talking about the golden age that was coming back from 200 years ago. Let's listen in, people, especially you, Nickel.
Question is, are we about to see the return of free banking? And if so, what does that mean for you? By the end of this video, you're going to be able to understand exactly what's happening, why the government is pushing this now, and how it could create one of the biggest wealth building opportunities of the decade. Now, real quick, I'm Mark Moss. I've built and exited multiple tech companies. I've invested through several boom and bust cycles, and today I'm a partner at a leading Bitcoin venture fund. I'm an advisor to multiple public tech companies, and I also write the Quantum Wave Investment Report, where I help investors navigate the biggest shifts.
Yes, we're going to have
money.
more than a VC.
And I make these videos to share the insights that we're using so you can profit from these.
Because see, when you talk crypto, you notice how the stock market takes a long time for it to crash, go up and down. You see how fast it happens with crypto? Things go at a rapid pace when you introduce a cryptocurrency into an economy. So if Trump does do this, oh my God, he said it with his own mouth. But hey, let's not believe it because, you know, Nickel doesn't want to. So we're not going to believe it. Peace him. Wow, it's going to happen at a record V-shaped recovery pace. Don't you think? Wow, let's put it all together and think logically, if possible. Yes, Nickel. V-shaped recovery. I've been saying it for 2 years. No one still believes me. But hey, after it's over with, you can go back and watch my videos and see.
Massive
right
for the rest of the world. In this video, I'm going to break down Trump's secret plan, how his administration is fast-tracking financial changes right now, why this is happening, the real reason why the U.S. is actually trying to embrace crypto, the new banking era that could spark this new age of financial competition, and, like I said, what it means for us.
What's it mean, Nickel?
Let's go. All right, so let's break this down. Why is the U.S. government suddenly pushing stablecoins? Why now? And more importantly, why is Trump leading the charge on all this? Well, this all became crystal clear just last week when the White House Digital Assets Summit met, and Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made this huge announcement. He said, quote, "We are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we'll use stablecoins to do that," end quote. Now, if I just pause right there and think about that, I mean, this is huge. For years, the U.S. government's been either ignoring or actively fighting against cryptocurrencies, but now they're embracing them. They're embracing stablecoins. So why? Well, partly because they have no other choice. You see, the US dollar is under massive threat, like never before. Inflation's been spiraling out of control. Global trade is shifting away from the dollar. China's aggressively trying to bring other people into its own currency. We have the BRICS nations trying to set up their own currencies, and China's trying to set up their own stablecoin.
Oh, hey, for all you BRICS lovers, this is BRICS we're just talking about. You know, the let's get away from the SWIFT system. Again, had you been watching my videos, you would know that St. Petersburg and Moscow have the cryptocurrency exchanges being opened up for the new BRICS cryptocurrency exchange system, which some people think is a currency for some reason. But when it comes to America, no, it's a cryptocurrency. It's not an exchange. It's totally different because we're America. But over there, they can do it. But over here, we can't because we're fools and we believe stupid shit.
Okay. And why?
Back to reality.
And they want to do this to bypass U.S. financial sanctions. But while governments might want to get away from the U.S. dollar, you know, in favor of their own currencies, the people around the world, well, they still want dollars. As a matter of fact, they want dollars really bad. So Trump and Bessent, well.
And if you've heard me for the past 2 to 3 years, XLM and Algo have contracts with the Treasury Department to make a digital Fed coin. So if you really want to make some money, this is not financial advice, but what every indicator out there is pointing to is ADA, XLM, and Algo. But hey, you know, I'm a dumbass.
They want to get dollars to the people around the world, and they see stable coins as a way to do this, to weaponize digital dollars, to make sure the dollar remains the world's default currency in the age of crypto. And here's the crazy part. 95% of all stablecoins today are already backed by the US dollar. But currently the problem is, at least for the US banking cartel, the banksters, is that all these stablecoins, they're being issued by private companies like Tether and Circle, not by US banks. And that's what Trump wants to change. Instead of relying on random offshore companies, the US government wants American banks to start issuing their own stablecoins, ones that are fully backed, regulated, and integrated into the banking system. And here's where it gets even crazier. This isn't some far-off proposal. Like, it's already happening, like right now. Trump's already started making huge moves behind the scenes to make this a reality. Congress is working on new laws for this. U.S. regulators are already flipping their stance on crypto. And the big banks, they're also preparing for what's coming because this regime change is happening faster than anyone's expected, all right? Hey, I want to just take a break from this video for a second just to let you know that we've been talking about the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. Over the next couple of dollars isn't just an idea. Like I said, it's already been put into motion. On March 7th, 2025, the White House held its first ever Digital Assets Summit. And this brought together the top crypto leaders, banking executives, and members of Trump's cabinet. And during the live stream portion of the meeting, Trump Secretary Scott Bessent basically dropped it in plain English. He said, quote, "As President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that," end quote. Now, that quote should tell you everything you need to know. The U.S. government is now actively embracing digital assets, U.S. dollar stablecoins, not to fight crypto, but to use as a weapon to maintain dollar dominance. Now, just days after the summit ended, then Trump signed an executive order launching what he calls a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a U.S. digital assets stockpile. Now, while that sounds flashy, the real action is actually buried in the details. Treasury Secretary Bessent made it clear this order directs agencies to rework banking and tax rules to favor stablecoins. So, one, the Treasury is going to amend and rescind all previous guidance that hinders digital asset markets. Number two, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency shall create a framework for stablecoin integration into national banks. So that means two massive things. First, it tells us Trump isn't just talking. His team is rewriting the rules like literally in real time as we speak. Second, this all but confirms that banks are about to get the green light to start issuing their own stablecoins. Meanwhile, Congress is already working on the legal framework to make this official. In early 2025, lawmakers introduced two major bills. There was one called the Stable Act and another one called the Genius Act. Now, both of these bills designed to create a federal framework for stablecoins. So the Stable Act, which was in the House, it requires stablecoin issuers to maintain a one-to-one reserves in U.S. Treasuries or cash deposits. Number two, the Genius Act, through the Senate, it grants national banks and financial institutions the authority to issue and settle stablecoins under the OCC oversight. Now, here's the kicker. Trump isn't waiting around for these things, right? He's pushing Congress to get a stablecoin bill on his desk by August. Trump said himself, quote, "We want digital dollars issued by American banks, not foreign companies, and not radical bureaucrats. Congress needs to get this done," end quote. Now, to make this work, the administration needs federal agencies to stop fighting crypto and start.
After last month's massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day, businesses are wondering, what should we do with it?
Working with it. And guess what? That's exactly what's happening. The OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, just approved national banks to start issuing their own stablecoins. The IRS, of course, the Internal Revenue Service, they ordered to start rolling back restrictive crypto tax rules to encourage adoption. Bessent even said the Treasury will rescind and amend all previous guidance that hurt the digital asset markets. So think about that. Just a few years ago, regulators were cracking down on crypto at every single opportunity. Now they're rescinding. Now they're rewriting the rules to make stablecoins and digital assets the foundation of the financial system. And this isn't just talk. Major banks are already preparing for what's coming. JP Morgan already launched JPM Coin. It's a tokenized dollar for institutional use. And guess what? It's backed one-to-one by cash reserves, just like the new stablecoin rules would require. Wells Fargo CEO just said they're exploring tokenized deposits, which, let's be honest, is just another way of saying stablecoins. And let's not forget Circle's USDC stablecoin, which is already being integrated into major payment networks, including Visa. So we can see it. It's happening. The banks know what's coming, and now they're all getting into position. And now this leads us to the biggest question. If banks are about to start issuing their own digital dollars, could we be witnessing the return of free banking? because the last times banks had this much control over issuing money, it led to one of the most explosive periods of financial competition in US history. We might be about to see it happen all over again. Now, for those of you that aren't history buffs like I am, you might be asking, what am I talking about? Well, this whole idea of banks issuing their own money, their own currency, it's not new. The US already tried this before during the free banking era from 1837 to 1863. Now, back then, any bank could issue its own currency. You didn't have to have US dollars. You had hundreds of different banknotes circulating, issued by different financial institutions. And here's the key part. Back then, banks had to compete. If a bank issued weak money, people didn't trust it. If they issued strong money, their currency became widely accepted. And this forced banks to actually earn trust. They had to back their money with gold, silver, strong financial reserves, or people just wouldn't use it. They'd go to a competitor's bank instead. And because of this competition, banking services and financial innovation skyrocketed. Now, if we fast forward that to today, guess what? We might be entering free banking 2.0. Except this time, it all happens on blockchains. Now imagine walking into a store and having the option to pay with a JPM coin or a Wells Fargo dollar or a Goldman Sachs stablecoin, just like in the 1800s. Now, back then, banks would have had to compete for your trust. The ones offering the most stable, the most secure, the most widely accepted digital money would dominate the market. Scott
Wow, free market money. Holy shit.
said it. He said, quote, "The stablecoin framework will ensure financial institutions can offer dollar-backed digital assets in a regulated, secure manner." Now, that means that banks could soon be competing to issue the best digital dollars, and this could change everything. So what happens if banks are allowed to compete again? Well, here's what it could mean for you. Better banking services, because banks would have to offer lower fees, higher interest, faster transactions, just to stay competitive. Stronger and more secure money, because stablecoins would have clear regulations, real asset backing, unlike offshore unregulated stablecoins we see today. Instant global payments. Your money could move anywhere in the world instantly without relying on antiquated SWIFT systems or outdated banking networks. More financial freedom. Instead of being forced into one monetary system, you'd have real choices over where to store your wealth. In short, this could be the biggest transformation in banking since the internet. And so now that we know what's happening, where does this lead us? Like, what's the big picture here? Well, the answer is simple. Like, this could be the biggest transformation of the US financial system and of the US dollar in history. And when everybody thinks the US dollar is
Hold on, wouldn't that be a V-shaped recovery?
dying, it could be cementing its position as the dominant global leader for decades. Now, like I said, the dollar's dominance has been under attack from inflation, from global de-dollarization, from countries like China and Russia pushing their own currencies. But now with stablecoins officially backed by US banks, the dollar could actually come out stronger than ever. Why would that even strengthen the US dollar, you might ask? Well, more global demand for dollars. We have this situation where people all around the world with failing currencies, think Lebanon, Turkey, Argentina, Venezuela, Peru, they all want US dollars, but they can't get them. And the government wants them to have US dollars. And so US stablecoins is a way to do that. Now, right now, over $200 billion in stablecoins are already circulating worldwide. Almost all of them are pegged to the US dollar. And that number is expected to grow at least 10x, maybe even 100x as stablecoins go mainstream. And then banks start competing.
100x, that would be $200 trillion in American-backed cryptocurrency that the world uses. Holy shit, is that a V-shaped recovery?
Competing to offer the best digital dollars. Instead of a single outdated financial system, we could see banks competing for better, faster, and more services. Now, of course, anytime we have competition, we get better products, better services, better prices. And this isn't just about stablecoins. Banks are now able to hold digital assets, think Bitcoin. Now, imagine a future where sending money internationally happens instantly with near zero fees, all powered by US bank-issued stablecoins. This could lock the US dollar in as the global reserve currency for the next era of digital finance, ensuring the US remains at the center of global trade, investment, and banking.
Hold on a second. Did he just say China is going to lock it in for the next 100 years? I haven't heard him say one thing about China yet. Where's China in all this? Oh, yeah, they're already dead. My bad.
But here's the thing. There's another option. one that doesn't require stablecoins, one that doesn't even require banks. You see, Trump and Bessent made it clear that they also support Bitcoin with the executive order and the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, there was talk of it being a crypto reserve, but they made it clear this is a Bitcoin reserve, not crypto. They said that Bitcoin is different and will be treated different than anything else. And the thing with Bitcoin is it allows us to be our own banks. So instead of relying on stablecoins and banks to control your money, Bitcoin lets you hold your wealth directly without any middlemen, without any restrictions. And with Bitcoin, we have true financial sovereignty. There's no need to trust a bank-issued stablecoin. You control your own money anywhere in the world. You can move it instantly across borders with or without government approval, and yes, without the bank. And most importantly, though, it's a hedge against inflation. Unlike the dollar, Bitcoin has a fixed supply. There's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin. So instead of your money, your dollars, buying less and less goods and services in the future, Bitcoin buys you more goods and services in the future. Let me give you an example. In 2016, the US median home price in the US was $288,400. And it was also 664 Bitcoin. Today, the US median home is $434,700, but it's only 6 Bitcoin. Okay, just one more quick break. Hopefully you're enjoying the video. I just want to let you know that I am going to be breaking down what Trump.
Anyhow, enough of that crap. So you get the point, though. There is a couple options coming. Which one to take? I can see him taking both, actually. I can see him letting the banks run their own stable coins to help solidify the banking system, while the American Federal Reserve System does the Bitcoin thing to control the digital assets of the world, guaranteeing us prominence over China, as it always has and always will be, because we created China, and people seem to forget that because we weren't born yesterday, but seems like we were. And people forget about contracts that were made, longer than their lifetime ago, because contracts were made longer than you've been alive. They don't count, and we won't consider them in our financial asset future economic outlook. Yeah, go sink Titanic. Go sink Titanic. You got to look at things that happened before you were born, because contracts were made. America was made before we were born. That means that everything that's happening now was decided when America was born, because we were a social experiment. The only country in the history of the world. What's up, Frank? The only country in the history of the world, not the Roman Empire, not the Greeks, not the Islamic Empire. Nobody in the world is as great as America, because after we beat you in war, we don't conquer you. We rebuild you. No one in history. Go break out the Google chats. Go break out any history book you want. Nobody in history, no country has ever rebuilt countries after they defeated them in war. So you can't go off history when it comes to America. There's nothing to go off of. So if you go, well, this is the way countries go and empires go. Okay. When those other countries conquered other countries, did they occupy them, or did they rebuild them to be sovereign nations? Your answer is going to have to be, no, they occupied them. And then when it comes to America, your answer is going to have to be, they've following their own path. This has never happened before, but we're going to compare them with everyone else because that's what we do. And that's how we become poor, because we don't consider the reality of the situation, because that happened before we were born. And there's no reason to consider that in 1945, contracts were signed because we rebuild nations. We allowed them to tax and tariff us, and us not tax and tariff them. So if you're wondering why there's no Chevys and Dodge factories in Germany, in Italy, or in Japan, oh my God, aren't those the Axis powers before we were born that we conquered and decided to rebuild rather than occupy? See, because when we decided to rebuild them, what we decided to do is allow them to tax and tariff us and take the wealth of our nation to rebuild theirs. Damn, it's been 85 years. About time for that shit to end. Now it's time for us to keep our money. And everyone's crying like little bitches, saying, oh, taxes and tariffs, other countries are going to hurt us. Wow, the stupidity, the sheer stupidity of it. No, what we're doing is we're putting an end to them taxing and tariffing us from 1945 till now, when we have not taxed and tariffed them. It has been unfair trade our whole existence on this planet. There's not someone here in this chat old enough who was not born into a tariff slavery system where every country in the world taxed and tariffed America, and we did not tax and tariff them. So for it to be equal and fair, they have to stop. How do you get someone to stop stealing money from you? Nickel, how do you get people to stop stealing money from you? Do you cry and tell them, no, let's give them more money? No, you shut off the taps. How do you do that? You cut US aid. Why? Because that was over $5 billion of theft coming from your money and my money every year that one political party decided to profit off of. That's not how it works. That's not aid. That's election interference. When you buy a president a brand new car and a second wife, and every year you do that for him so he'll continue to do whatever you want for him, that's not aid. But I'm sure in your world that is aid. Now they're crying like little bitches because we're not giving them money. That's fine. Let all these other countries cry when we start taxing and tariffing them. You want to know why? Because I'm tired of being taxed and tariffed myself. I want to see Ford companies in Australia, in Japan, in England, in France, in Germany, in Italy, because it's fair. They have Audis, Porsches, and Yamatos and Toyotas over here. Have you ever thought about it? Seriously? Why do their car companies over here and we give them all our money and it goes to their countries, but they don't give us any of their money because they don't buy any of our products? Oh, because America doesn't buy products anymore. Yeah, it was designed that way. It's called overregulation. The same thing that this asshole in charge is cutting right now that's going to make a V-shaped recovery possible. And if anyone knew actual history like this dumbass who only completed 9th grade, so if Nickel, I hope you didn't go any further than 9th grade, because if you did, you went to a foolish school, because this 9th grade educated dropout seems to know more about economies than most of the freaking world, because you forget shit that I don't forget. It's blatantly obvious to me. I've lived in these other countries, not in the East. I've never been to East, furthest East or Eastern, furthest West I've been is Hawaii. I've never been to any of those countries over there. Europe, I've been to almost damn near every country, lived in most of them. Never saw too many American products there. Why? Taxes and tariffs against us. I saw it in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020. Now we're getting equality and people are crying like little wee me. Yeah, we're going to hurt ourselves. We're going to pay for this. You've been paying your whole damn lives. Get over it. Everybody in America has been paying tariffs for every good and service you've ever bought. You bought a Toyota, you bought an Audi, if you bought a Porsche, if you bought any of those foreign cars, you paid a tariff. It could have been $2,000 cheaper if they hadn't been tariffing and taxing us. But we didn't tax and tariff them. And in your world, that's fair. That's what I call born into slavery and hating taking off the chains. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to enjoy those chains of slavery coming off of your economic slavery ass because they're coming off and it's going to hurt. It's called new. It's called financial freedom. And if you're not up for it, you're going to be down with it because everyone's going to step on you because there's so much opportunity coming. If you can't see it, boom, it's going to hit you in the face. You're going to be knocked out, ran over, and left behind, woken up with road marks on you, tire marks on you, saying, what the hell happened? And you're still going to be poor. And then you're going to say, oh, wow, I should have listened to those other people when they said this because it was facts that they were telling me. And I was living in delusional world thinking things that I wanted to be believed and other people wanted me believed. So they shoved it down my throat. But I never actually did my own research or historical documentating facts and brought them to life. You know why people don't like me like Andy Schectman? Because I throw it in his face that, hey, check this out. South Africa's GDP has been crap since before you've been trying to sell it as the best thing in the world. Now I'm being proven right. But he's a multimillionaire and has 55 billion people following him. So he's right and everyone listens to him. No, he's dead wrong. He's been feeding you a line of bullshit. Rick Rule was doing that with Platinum till I straightened him out. Yes, the great Rick Rule of Sprout Investments. Neil Hahn squared him away on Platinum too. And now we got little people in here trying to square me away. Good luck. My facts are solid. I do my research. The end. That's all there is. I don't come here to tell you bullshit. I don't come here to impress you. I could care less about impressing you. I'm here to give facts. A lot of those times those facts give me strikes and I don't get to post things for weeks at a time because that's just how it is. because I get too blatantly honest with my facts sometimes. But sometimes, truth has to come out eventually so that you people can wake up and realize it. A lot of you do. Some of you seem not to. I hope everyone wakes up. Change is a coming, and it's going to be here before the end of the year. And it's going to run a lot of people over, and I do not want to see that. Fight what I say. Cool. That just means you're not doing your own research, because I guarantee, as God is my witness, if you actually do your research, you will find out why I'm 100% right, because I've actually done the research. Bingo. That's why people come to me when they do their shows and their research. That's why I see lots of people doing shows that I've done 6 months ago, and they're doing shows and they're getting 200,000 views, but I only got 34. And I did the show 6 months ago. I see that all the time. I don't complain. I'm just glad the truth is finally getting out there. I just happened to give it to you a couple months before, I guess, the status quo wants you to hear it. That's called getting information early. I put in a lot of time and effort and energy into getting these facts, not to feed them down your face to convince you of lies. I don't want to do that. I've never met any of you personally. Why the hell would I want to lie to you? Look up what a lie is. It's to impress someone. Do you think I want to impress any of you? I just want to give you the facts, and I hope that you appreciate it. But when I keep getting bullshit, but China's the world's leader, that just tells me you haven't done your research. And it damn sure tells me you haven't been watching my shows, because I do my research, and I've given facts over the past 3 years about China being a paper dragon. All you got to do is look through the 1,200 videos I've put out, and about 200 of them have a paper dragon on the front as a face, as a, what do you call that, as a thumbnail. All of them show China to be a paper dragon. Now, here in America, if the American banks were accepting watermelons for down payments on houses, what would you think our economy would be like if they were accepting watermelons as down payments? Because I did a video over 2 years ago. That's what the Chinese were doing, because their economy was such in a shithole way back then, and it hasn't gotten any better. They are fixing to collapse. That's just how it is. Hey, what's up, 999? What's up, Debbie? Glad all you people came in and joined. I don't know about this Jubilee. There's a lot of things going to happen that I don't know about, because they've never happened before. This crypto thing is new, never in history. There's nothing. I mean, you can kind of sort of, like the guy on the show I just showed you, you can kind of sort of go back to some historical references where banks were allowed to print their own money, and the competition was actually really, really good for the American consumer, because they were competing for you to use their version of money approved by Congress. That is kind of sort of a crypto thing, but it's not really. So there's not really a historical base to go off of with this crypto thing. It's all new, and it's just like it's blowing me. I see the future, yeah, but I mean, not a clear future. I can't tell you. There's a lot of small cap out there that are like a tenth and a hundredth of a penny that are actually going to be something. I'm not focused on those when I talk to you guys. I only focus on things that have been around for 5 to 6 years. I know for a fact that's ADA, Algo, XLM. I know for a fact they got government contracts, and they're all going to be banks. So if we go the way that this gentleman on this program that I showed you said, that the individual banks are going to, and if you look at like Rick Rule, he's starting his own bank, Bullion Bank. So it looks like it might be heading that direction as well. So if it does head in that direction, I would suggest, non-financial advice, do your own research, to look at XLM, Algo, and ADA as a solid stable coin. If it goes in both directions, also look for BTC. How it's going to work, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm not God. Never said I would. All I know is I see patterns and pathways. And there's lots of pathways out there. Lots of things can change those patterns and pathways. Different people can throw up money and throw a temper tantrum, throw $1 billion at causing shit, and it changes everything. I mean, that guy from that FXS crypto that's in jail now, that's what he did. He gave his girlfriend $100 million a month to go cause problems. And she probably funded BLM with it. She's in jail now too. No one talks about that. So a lot of bad things can happen when foolish people get a lot of money. So a lot of things can change the future as far as the timeline, but as far as the general direction, it's still going to stay the same direction. If you don't need silver, nickel, then you don't keep silver. You do you, brother. Okay. You obviously there's Alzheimer's kicking in your head. I've told you many a times. It cycles. If you don't know what that is, get off the YouTube and start doing your research on economics and see what cycles are. And then when you come across this time about 2 or 3 years ago where they said there's 3 cycles ending, a 50, 80, 100-year cycle, figure out what the fuck those are, and then figure out how they're going to affect the economy. Oh, wait. And then you might be catching up with what's going on today, but you're so far fucking behind, bro. All you want to do is run your mouth. Yeah, no, we don't need cryptos. All we need is dollars. Yes, all we need is Chinese crypto dollars with non-silver backed gold shoved up our verganas. Okay, silver backed bullion loving, non-loving crypto dude, whatever you are. Nickel, I'm really getting sick of you being an antagonist. Okay, you're making yourself look like an ass. So I am going to go ahead and get rid of you because you really are pissing me off with your stupidity. I'm sorry, just blatant stupidity, bro. Yeah, we're never going to use silver again. Silver is going to disappear and we're all going to live in a virtual, we're going to drive virtual cars and drive virtual, yes, because crypto, that's what crypto is. Crypto is a virtual lifestyle. Okay, Nickel, that's your world. Go for it, bro. Obviously, you know we're in reality and don't have a goddamn clue what the hell I'm talking about, so you don't need to be here. Okay, sorry about that, people. When people get too stupid, I just can't handle it. I need people with more than 80 IQ on this show. Because if you don't get it, you're not going to get it. You're going to get sunk. The time for fucking trying to figure it out by asking stupid questions just to get views on your own channel is over. The economy's changing, people. We got a couple months. Sorry, I had to put some milk in my tea. I also make tea. Oh, well, thank you, Diabolical. My cats love being my cats because they like run my life. You know, they're diabolical like that. And even outside cats do, too. Somehow they seem to make me run their lives as well. Oh, I love all animals. Thank you, Frank. That actually means a lot coming from you, man. I'm just trying to tell people, get them prepared as much as possible. I mean, I finagle my way onto the Economic Ninja show so that I can gain some sort of influential status with people so that I can be taken a little more serious. My God, I mean, if you know the Economic Ninja, the son of a bitch is not stupid. He is one of the more intelligent people I've ever met. And he's very, very wealthy and very well connected. So it just behooves me to stick with him like glue. But having said that, he doesn't allow people to stay around him that aren't enlightened like he is. So I'm not feeding you guys bullshit. Seriously. I want everyone to be rich. I want everyone to be kind, helpful, and grateful, not pessimistic, not, Trump did this. Trump, he's only been in office for 6,000 years. The other guy was in for 400 trillion. Let's talk about the other guy if we're going to be so small-minded and talk about people. I don't like talking about people. We're beyond that. Oh, what was that, Finn? I'm sorry. I obviously did miss it because see, Nickel got me going with this asking rudimentary third grade questions in a college class, which you already knew the answers to. So yeah, you're gonna have to re-ask the question. I'm looking, Finn. I see you talking to Deja Vu. Let's see, going up, prank. Okay, Finn, Deja Vu, the Jubilee. Caller, I'm really looking at sovereigns. Is that the question right there, brother? Everyone, make sure to subscribe to everyone else here so we can and post your links. Frank, you too, man. Everybody, post your links. Start sharing this stuff. And yes, you're 100% correct, Jeffrey. That's exactly how it works. There's going to be a lot, and that's why I'm trying to get information out because it's going to be a mess for a little while, but then you're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if you're positioned properly before it happens, you're going to be so much better off. If you have just the slightest comprehension of what might be, to throw a little bit of financing at it as maybe a life raft for you on the other end, it might pay off more than you imagine. Hey, you guys, quit fighting, okay? Quit it. What's up, Platina? I love my little kitty Platina, of course, because I'm a platinum guy. After I get my backyard done up nice, I'll take the computer out back and show it to y'all once it's all 100% done. It's raining like crazy right now for the next couple of days. We have an atmospheric river. That's why I've been doing all this work in between the rains, because it's going to pouring down rain. Yeah, you missed it, Gerald. I already banned Nickel for being dumb. Or that's not being dumb. He's a smart guy. He's asking stupid questions and trying to incite anger in people by asking stupid questions that he already knows the answer to. That, or he really needs help. And I'm giving him more credit than that. Okay, Finn, you got to repost it, and I will talk about it for sure. I apologize. I missed what you were saying. A lot of things I'm not real good at following. Yeah, I'm Ninja's fucking #1 mod, but I'm not real good at following chat in my chat. In his chat, I'm fucking perfect at it. All the other mods step aside. But in my chat, I actually need help. I don't pay attention to chat, especially if I get on a rant. Your math, whoa. That sounds interesting, Gold and Silver. It all depends, bro. It all depends on the size of the math proof and upload speed and what it can upload. Where's Crafty? Yeah, he's up there. I said hi to Crafty already. And thank you very much, Crafty. Like I said, sometimes I get strikes for giving you guys the truth. Sometimes I don't. So, it's a hit and miss. I've noticed if I stay away from medical stuff, I might not get as many strikes. So I try and stay away from medical stuff. If you want to know about medical stuff, get a hold of my email. I'll give you a whole bunch of information on medical stuff that they don't want you to know. Matter of fact, I could probably save you a lot of money. Even if you don't want to fucking get off the pills they give you. I've got a connection where you can get the pills without going through a doctor. No, it's not a drug deal. It's 100% legal, and the TSA and customs search the packages before they're shipped in the country, and they're 100% legal. It's a backdoor that Congress left open when they wanted to, when they were getting rid of Viagra because of its potency on guys cheating on their wives. Well, Congress still wanted to get a hold of their pill. So when they made it illegal for everyone else to have it, they left the back door open for them to get it. And I used that back door because I do my own research. And I know what Congress is like. And I know when they make a law for us, they leave the back doors for themselves. All you got to do is do your own research and you can find it. And I found it. So, it really wasn't that hard. Just a little bit of research. And I finished 9th grade. I didn't even finish 10th grade. So I'm sure everyone who's got a higher education than me can figure it out. A little bit of research. All you got to do is take a little bit of time to care about yourself and your country and your finances. Just a little bit, not much. Don't take much. Just a little bit of time, a little bit of concern, a little bit of wanting of knowledge, 15, 20 minutes a night after you get out of the shower, after you finish washing your ass in the tub, whatever the hell it is, when you got 15, 20 minutes, instead of drinking a beer, do a little research. You will be so enlightened. Your life will be so much better in a few years because 15 minutes of research every day, 365 days, that almost makes 320 hours of research every year. That is college grade education research that you can do yourself. Look at college kids. See how many hours they spend in a college class to get a credit for that class. 3 months, 1 hour, 5 hours a week, 5 to 8 hours a week for 3 months, and they can get a freaking credit for it. And you're going to spend time researching 15 minutes a day for the whole year. You're going to be more intelligent than a college kid in 2 years. Learning never stops. You stop learning. That's the only thing. You take time out of your day to learn, or you take time out of your day to fuck off. It's a choice. Yeah, well, Nico's not going to be here no more, Gerald. You ain't got to worry. Tonight was a bad night for him to be asking asinine questions and presenting himself as a CCP fucking agent or something. I don't know. Oh, here's another thing. I have not done a video on this one, but the Democratic Republic, and I said to Nico, I told him this, that we have the Democratic Republic of Congo's mineral reserves, and they have the most mineral reserves in Africa. That hasn't actually happened yet. The M23 and Rwanda have already taken over a couple cities in the southeastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo is losing land. And the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo is making a deal with Trump right now to send in troops to get his country back from the other two, the M23 and Rwanda's troops and South Africa is actually throwing troops in there too. But if Trump takes that deal, we'll have all of Democratic Republic of Congo's natural resources available for extraction, contracted through America. So that sinks China. We have absolutely zero need for China whatsoever as soon as that contract's signed. As soon as that contract's signed, China can go the way of a dodo bird, and it won't affect America in the least. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Now, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not anti-Trump. You guys should know I ran for president. I saw what could happen. I saw what could be done. I didn't know the people. I don't know his administration, the people he knows, and I probably wouldn't have been able to get the Democrats to convert to Republican, blah, 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 blah. But as far as knowing what needed to be done, I know what needs to be done. And he needs to go further. He needs to cut the Federal Forest Service. Wow. Okay, there's 6 million fraudulent Social Security checks sent out every month, averaging $1,000. What's 6 million times $1,000 times 12? That was just saved in Social Security spending. That amount of number, it goes into the hundreds of billions yearly, fraudulently not being spent now, revises all the numbers on Social Security and its longevity. And that's good. But a way to make it grow 10 times faster than it's going to grow is to get rid of the Federal Forest Service, because their whole administration paycheck comes out of the Social Security Administration funds. And that's called double dipping. That means the people that are working for the Federal Forest Service, if they pay Social Security, are actually paying their own paycheck. And people don't look at this shit. But that's, again, do your own research. You'll find out Jimmy Carter made it happen in 1979 to balance the budget. Yes, I was only 11 years old and I saw it and I said, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's killing my future. I'm not going to have Social Security. And I was 11 because I'm a weird kid. I've always been a weird kid. I've been a weird adult. I've always been weird, but I've always seen pathways. And I saw back in 1971 how they were fucking Social Security to balance the budget. I know how to save Social Security since we don't give a fuck about a budget. Get rid of the Forest Service. You just save Social Security. But going back to the 6 million Social Security checks being sent out at $1,000 a month times 6 million times 12, that's all fraud. And it just ended. So that money gets put back in, doesn't get taken out. All the numbers get revised. And I think you're going to find out Social Security, after they do this Dodge thing, is going to be solvent into the 2070s. Not saying that you should rely on Social Security. My God, no. When I was a kid, I don't know where you guys went to school, but they told us you have 3 retirements if you want to live halfway good. Social Security, yeah, okay, that's 1/3. Some sort of company you work for should be 1/3. And then something else you got going, your individual retirement scheme and your investments should be 1/3. Who the hell has that? I've only got 2. I'm working on my 3rd right now. Social Security, when I get it at early age, 62, which is in 5 years, I'm going to get like $2,500. What it buys, who the hell knows? I'm going to get about $900 early retirement from my union later this year. I'm making investments now that I'm going to live off of. So I got my 3. Anyone else got their 3? Because I was told that back in the 70s, baby. They told us have 3 retirements if you wanted to retire half-ass good. I bet everyone here says, well, I got Social Security. I got Social Security and investments. Well, gold and silver people, just stop by and hit a subscribe if you just have a channel name out of solidarity, supporting you if you want to start a show. And I'll tell you what, I mean, as weird as it sounds, and it does sound weird, but start a cooking show for you people who know how to cook. My God, your show will take off if you can cook good food and you can show how to make it. You edit that, you'll have a fucking kick-ass show. You'll have money coming in you'll never thought you had. If your wife's a good cook, if your husband's a good cook, tell them to film it. Film the recipes, put it on YouTube, see how much. I mean, you're gonna do the work on cooking anyhow. Might as well video yourself you cooking and the recipes and stuff, and then do a little half-hour worth of editing, put it out, boom. See if you can't make some money. Talk about side gigs. Well, hell, everyone eats. That means everyone cooks. I'm shitty at cooking, so I'm not gonna film myself. You know, I usually do like corn dogs in the microwave with ketchup. That's not really a video type thing. But if you do actually cook real food, you could make a YouTube channel and you'd probably make dinner money off of it. There you go. Gold and silver. You could go out, film yourself building a 2x4 OBS little shed and show how you wire it up. Put out a you'll get hit so many times with people looking, how do you wire up this light switch if it's going to a dimmer over a regular light switch? You know how many people ask that question? Probably about 1 million. There's only 320 million people in America and 9 billion in the world. And I'm sure there's at least 1 million people will ask that question and look for a video on how to explain that. That you could have a video out there that explains that. And that's how easy it is to have a side gig. Yeah. Jeffro, don't rock the boat. See, now you done rock the boat, Jeffro. That happens to Gerald all the time. Yeah, there you go. Show people how to make Tesla coils. That's a good one. I've actually seen those in operation where a guy had a remote controlled boat in a small like half-acre lake. He put some made some Tesla cables, coils, put them around the little pond he had, took the batteries out of the remote control boat and out of the remote controller itself, stuck it in the water and played with it all day without batteries. And that's how that works. And if you spread that information, more people can do it. So that way when they have power outages, if they had like 2 or 3 Tesla coils set up around their house, all they'd have to do is turn them on and they'd have power. Then all of a sudden people would be like, shit, fuck the power company, bro. You know, we don't innovate unless we try shit. We don't try shit no more. No, hardly anyone does. And very few ask questions. Do both those things. And always challenge yourself. Don't put yourself down. Oh, no one will watch this. Bullshit. Only person who can say that's me. I got 1,200 videos and I've got less than 30 people that watch my shit over 3 years. So most of you can do better than me. Because you'll have interesting stuff. Mine's not interesting. That's why I don't get that many views. That or people just don't like hearing the truth. Or don't want to hear the truth. You know, it's always easier not to hear the truth. Ignorance truly is bliss. It's a saying for a reason, and it's very true. Now there's a smart man. Take advantage of every opportunity out there. Do your own research. Again, 15 minutes a day. You've done research on crypto 4 years ago, 15 minutes a day, you'd have, oh shit, 1,200 hours of freaking research done on crypto. You'd be an expert. You'd be a damn expert. So if you're not an expert on crypto now, take 15 minutes a day and start researching it. Find out about it. Next halving, you'll be a damn expert. You'll be making millions. Doing whatever the fuck you're doing now. You don't have to go to college. All you got to do is want to. That's how we used to succeed in America. Just want to do it and then do it. Oh, I want to repair my own car. Look, do it. You start. How do you do it? Open up the hood and look. Ask a question. Get an answer. Ask another question. Get another answer. That's how you fix shit. That's because you don't have no videos out. If you had videos out, I'd be asking you all the time. I hate electricity. I mean, I love electricity. I just hate getting shocked when I work with it. So I don't work with it. Nice. Yeah, NNE, bro. That company is going to be the Tesla of the energy market. You saw the video I started off this show with Greenland, and the guy who's a Greenland citizen, born, raised there, lives there, loves there, does everything there, has never left there, has got a job there, fucking on TV there, everything New Greenland. And he even said, we can't do it. We can't extract our own resources. Denmark can't do it. We can't do it. It's too expensive. Boom. The Zeus project from Nano Nuclear. It's a micro nuclear project. They're already selling them. Oh, of course it is. It's going to be booming for a while. See, different sections of the economy boom when the rest of it crashes. Typically, alcohol and tobaccos are your typical downtrodden economy stocks and stuff to invest in, because when people start losing their ass money-wise, they usually go to drinking and smoking. Yes, we did. But you guys came in behind us and lit it up. Speaking of which, that's exactly how it worked on the Bay Bridge. We built the Bay Bridge, and right behind us was the electricians wiring it up for lighting. Now power's too expensive, so they don't run a third of the lights on that bridge at night. But when the economy was good, they lit that bridge up. It looked beautiful at night. I got some pictures. I have several pictures, actually. I built part of that. I built a lot of things in San Francisco and Oakland. Really, off the top of my head, I can think of 7 high-rises I did, or 9 high-rises I did over 20 floors. And 5 of them were over 40 floors, or over 37 floors. Yeah, I actually, it's on my thumbnail of one of my shows about 2 weeks ago, Gerald. There you go. What's up, Magic? Nice to see you here, brother. And then here's another thing. Excuse me. You can make wine and beer out of anything that you can ferment. I knew this guy that it was in Concord back in 98, 99, somewhere around there, before I came back to Alabama to start my Ren Fair. He was making wine out of plums. And it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't something I'd go buy, but it doesn't taste as bad as it sounds. I'll say that. But if it ferments, you can make an alcohol out of it. So you can make, apple cider. It's from apples, All you gotta do is grow an apple tree. You can have apple cider. You can have apple cider vinegar. You can have apple sauce, apple pie. If you have some, wheat or some flour and some eggs and water and stuff, you can make some pie with apples. So, just got to get back to doing what works. Save yourself some money, make yourself healthy food. I don't think you can ferment weed. Oh, I don't care, Jeff Rowe. He can put whatever challenges he wants. I'm not going to stoop down to that level ever. He's got a intelligent up his line of questioning before I'll entertain anything he has to say, because the information's already out there and I probably already gave it before he asked the question. He just didn't watch my show to get the answer. Oh, you can? I thought you had to ferment it. I guess you could ferment weed, but I don't know if I'd want to do that. I know you can infuse butter and honey with weed, but that's not the same as bees doing it, because bees don't have anything to do with weed. There's no pollen for them. And they also don't hit grapevines, which is why I hate monoculture crops, because monoculture crops kills ecosystems of everywhere it's growing. Nothing but one crop for thousands of acres. Well, how are all the animals and all the critters and all the bugs and all the infrastructure of the soil supposed to survive without a diverse ecosystem? You find out. They actually in the grape vineyards, they're now over winter growing fava beans and mustards to add nitrogen to the soil. Party brownies are good. I know I pissed him off, and I don't care. You know how easy it is to piss off people? Tell the truth. Yeah. Come to my last live stream when it got cut off. I was telling the truth. Someone got mad and gave me a strike. Yeah, he's gonna hate. I don't want his silver. He needs to keep his silver. He's gonna need it. Oh yeah, back on that. The 50 and 80 year and the 100-year cycle, all those things go there. All those waves, when they come together, make turbulent water. And in turbulent water, you get different actually waves coming in. And then you can surf those waves, those cyclical waves, and make a lot of money. And right now it looks like the cycles, the way they're going to be hitting, and they're going to be hitting close and fast together. That's what's going to make this such a unique year. The crypto cycle is going to start. I know it's down now. Everyone says it's down now, and I agree it is down now. Crypto market's going to pop. If you have money in the right cryptos, you're going to make a lot of fucking money, but you're going to have to sell because it goes down. It's cyclical. It happens. Go back 4 years, you'll see it's cyclical. It happens. It goes up, it goes down. You sell as it's going up towards the top. You take all your extra money and buy as much freaking silver as possible, because before silver gets to 40, which, by the way, I'm not ignoring you, Debbie. I see your question. What do I think of silver? It's almost at 34. It's no big deal. Not really concerned. I don't even see why anyone else is getting excited. But once the crypto breaks and starts falling again, shortly thereafter, if it hasn't already started, silver will be running even hotter. It's starting to get up 34, like Debbie said. By the time the crypto goes back up and comes back down, silver might be hitting 40 to 42. So you take all your profits that you're getting off the crypto market, throw it into silver. Silver's still going to be pumping. It'll pump up probably into the hundreds. And it'll happen fast. So you take your profits from the crypto wave. As it's falling, you're selling because you bought low. You're buying now. You're buying now because it's going to go back up and then it's going to fall. You sell when it gets up to the top. You'll hear people talk about it. Oh, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. Okay, yeah, sell. As soon as you feel you've made enough profit, sell. Buy silver. Silver's going to run up. Sell a majority of it. Once it gets up there, you'll hear people talking, other people talking, not just me, but a whole bunch of other people. And then you sell that because the housing market will have crashed by then. And you take all that freaking profit that you rolled over from the crypto market into the silver or precious metals, silver and platinum market. And then you take all that profit margin, you roll it into housing. So by the end of this year, beginning of next year, if you play it half-ass right, you could outright own at least one house. And to prove it, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and my best. Getting in the market late. I have no crypto. I've sold most all of my silver and all of my platinum. Everyone's right. I'm fucking shit ass broke dumb fuck. But you know, the economy hit me too because I was all in on my own company. And when that crashed, it kind of hit me. And unlike other people, I have a little bit of feelings. And my feelings got hurt and I got into a little depression because I have this thing called PTSD because I was a patriot. And, you know, I suffered some psychological trauma in a war. So, you know, things hit me and my mind wasn't right there for a while. And I didn't make a lot of the right decisions. So I'm a piece of shit right now. But I still know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go from being a piece of shit to being a millionaire within 24 months. And y'all are going to get to enjoy the ride. And I hope everyone else here goes up too. What's up, Joseph? I hope everyone else here sees these cycles running back to back to back to back that you can profit off of. The Economic Ninja, my friend Travis, he's talking about it. I'm talking about it. There's other people talking about it. You just get involved with these different crypto channels, PM channels, financial channels, weird channels like mine, and the right people will tell you. And you figure out which ones to listen to. Do your own research. See who you feel has the right ideas going forward and invest appropriately. You know, I've been talking about shit for almost 3 years. There's a library of information you can go back through and say, you know, he was right, he was wrong, he's full of shit, he's a dumbass, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Hey, he might know what he's talking about. Do your research. Yeah, Crafty Ninja's a good dude. Actually, I just talked to him today. I showed him a picture of a house we were talking about a little bit. This house, let me see, I'll get if I still have a picture of it. I think I have a picture of it. Do I have a picture of it? Hold on here. There it is. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to show you guys. This, hold on. I get this band-aid over my that, and then I got to get over here, and then I got to do this, and I got to do that, and this house right here. This you guys know. That is Ninja. There we go. That house right there. Gorgeous brick house on a half-acre, 3-story, $340,000. 1 year ago, this nice house was almost $600,000. It's down about 40%. $340,000. I showed that to Ninja, and he said, "Wow." And then I told him, "That's why I'm looking in Alabama, baby. House prices are about half what they used to be, and you can get yourself a nice ass house for pennies on the dollar, and they have 0.02% property tax. 0.02, the 49th lowest in the world. Could you see yourself living in a house like that? You could probably get that house for $275,000. Yeah, it's a very beautiful house. And you could probably, like I said, if you ride these waves and you get yourself up about 100,000 cash, you go talk to those people, you'd have a fucking loan of about $200,000 and that house would be yours. And you'd be living in it for $200,000. Holy shit. What an upgrade. Of course, you'd be in Alabama. Oh, yeah, that sucks. Look at that house. Yeah. Then you come out here to California and see what $330,000 gets you. You'd be like, fuck, I'll take that house over the little shack I get for $330,000 out here. I know, Mama, but I need to sit there. Sorry, my cat's trying to steal my seat. I've seen those too. And actually, I'm looking at those also. I'm looking at a 3-bedroom, 2 baths with 3 to 5, 6 acres. That's more what I like. But if that 3-story brick house gets any cheaper, bro, fuck that. I might buy it because that thing is half price. It's going to jump up so quick. I'll be able to turn that thing within 2 years and probably sit on $150,000 profit. It's just, you got to look at how things are, man. You got to look around. Not if you put shackles on yourself before you start, you're not going to succeed. Okay, not nearly as well. You see a house like that, and you can afford it, and you live in California, but it's in Alabama. Well, shit. I've done some stories on the financial opportunities and the availabilities of moving from those two specific states. California, $1 buys you, because of state regulations and taxes, $1 buys you 88 cents worth of goods and services. In Alabama, that same dollar buys you $1.12 worth of goods and services. So just by moving, you gain 24% purchasing power. And the houses are so cheap. I mean, you put all this stuff together, property taxes cheap. I mean, really, what are you giving up? Living in California, where that same house would go for $2 million and you can't afford. Or you can move to Alabama, take a lesser paying job, have a nicer house, less money, and still be able to afford it. Huh. Don't restrict yourself. Leave yourself open to opportunity. That house, Gerald, would house all of my cats, and they would be happy. they would lose themselves in that house. 30-story house, I doubt they'd see each other for a week. I doubt I'd see them except for dinner time to clean their shitters. That's a huge house. Yeah, man, it was like fucking 4,000 square foot on a half acre. And there was no other houses around it. It wasn't in a neighborhood. There was no other, I mean, there was houses around it, but there was like several acres away. It was like totally, you could probably still buy a half acre on each side for like 25,000 and have yourself an acre and a half and the house at that price for 160 or 360,000. But if you have like parents living with your kids, I was like, that would be perfect, because you'd hardly ever see them and you'd live in the same house. That's a good scenario. Yeah, I've seen in-laws. They moved in 2 years ago. I've seen them twice. I think they're on the 3rd floor. I'm only on the 2nd. I would look. Well, yeah. Northeast, obviously, where it's real expensive. Nantucket, Massachusetts. Those where all the nice Victorians are. You will find, I have found several very nice, beautiful houses in northern Alabama, northwest Alabama to be specific, right along the Mississippi, Tennessee area of Alabama, up in that area. They've got some historic, beautiful old houses. That would be a thing to do. Get that African guy's power generation system to power house and run crypto out of the basement, mine crypto out of the basement. Oh yeah, gold and silver, 100%. We still have some houses out on Muir Island. I can go outside my front door, look to the west, and I see Muir Island. There was some World War II barracks that had to be moved, and also officers' housing, Victorian houses, 3-story. They're actually already on I-beams, sitting on the side of the road in an open lot that you can buy for $1, but you have to move them. And moving them costs like $500,000. Trust me, I looked into it. I wanted to buy one. They are beautiful houses. And they're also very expensive to move. Even though there is obviously there's dock on your island, you could probably have it put on a barge and move somewhere. It's still very, very expensive to move those big Victorian houses. And the reason why they don't tear them down is because, what's up, West Coast Stacker? Or West Texas Stacker, excuse me. Yeah, the Victorian houses, the reason why they don't tear them down, they offer them for $1 is because they are historical, beautiful, gorgeous houses. They're just expensive to move. Yes, you definitely avoid that. That's why I say look to the Tennessee, Alabama border area. Try and look in the Alabama side for the cheaper, because just as soon as you cross the border, you're going to probably add $100,000 to the house just because you're in a different state. Going back to the differentials of the buying power of the dollar due to different states, rules, regulations, and state taxes. If you could profitably do that, you could if you could decompartmentalize those houses, take them and cut them floor by floor, and then cut it in half, and then do floor by floor, you could probably cut the moving cost down to $100,000. Major part of the moving cost of moving those old Victorians, they move them all as one house, and you have electrical lines, special road permitting. You have to have shut down the road and all this other stuff because it's so big. But if you did make it smaller, like you're talking about, all those expenses go away. Muscle Shoals is actually a very good area to look. That's one of the areas I found one house that I'm looking at. It's on 13 acres. It's a 1920s style house, though. Oh, nice, Crafty. I actually live, let's see, I live 6 houses up from a architectural design house. There's only 2 were ever produced. One is here 6 houses down from me on this side of the road. The other one is in Beverly Hills. It is also a Victorian style. Beautiful. Dumbwaiter still works in it. All wood with rope. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I heard about that, Jeffro. Yeah, and if you decompartmentalize those houses, you can definitely do all kinds of restoration work on them cheaper as well before you put them back together. Does anyone want to come up on panel? So that way you can talk while I'm inhaling weed. And that's what I'm doing. Not being quiet, I'm holding in a toke. And if I let it out too quick and start talking, I start to choke. Actually, Debbie, if you own the house, you're not required to have insurance because you don't have a loan on it. The only reason you have insurances on houses is because you have a debt on the house, and you have to insure the debt. So the debtor, the person you owe the money to, is guaranteed that they will get their money back. So they force insurance upon you. If you own your own house, outright own it, you don't have to have insurance. But know this, any destruction comes, you better be able to fix it yourself because you have no insurance. So it's a give and take. But once you don't legally have to have insurance, unless the city or county or state that you live in demands that even though you have it 100% paid off, you still have to insure it, which some counties and cities and states do, like California, New York, I'm sure, probably Illinois and Michigan too. And probably Florida, because of all the hurricanes, they don't want you to say, no, because then it'll be a tore down, half tore up house, and we're not going to have you live in it because you can't afford to fix it because you didn't have insurance. But it all depends on the state. But once the house is paid off, there's no mandatory insurance needed because of contractually owing on the house still, because the house is paid off. So that contractual obligation of having insurance on the house is over with for that reason. Now, again, as I stated, different jurisdictions have different rules. Even if you own your house, you might still have to have insurance due to the state, city, county legislation in your area. There you go. See, silver, gold and silver knows. Once it's paid off, you don't need any. And 260 tax is a beautiful thing. I'm actually trying to get it set up to where this year I'm making enough money to, if I can't pay off a house that I want, my early retirement after taxes would be about between $700 and $800, and I want to be able to cover all my utilities and any house payment I have with that. So my goal this year is to get up the money that I need to put either pay off or put down on a house to make the payment to about $400 a month, which means about, $70,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 loan. So if I get up if I can make $100,000, as I just showed you that house for $340,000, if I threw $100,000 on that, got a loan for $220,000, but I'd probably be able to get it for 200. That would put my monthly payments about 1,400 a month. I could probably handle that, but I wouldn't want to because I don't want to. I want my early retirement to cover all of my bills. So I'm gonna downsize my thought process, and I'm looking at houses that are actually only in the 220s right now because they'll probably drop down to 180. And if I put 100,000 down on the 180, then that drops it down to about 80,000, which puts it about 400 a month, which leaves me about half my retirement check to cover, utilities and stuff like that. So that way, all I got to do is worry about food. And shit, that's an easy thing to worry about. I mean, the worst case scenario. I mean, I'm hoping for a lot better than that, obviously, but I always try to make my worst case scenario comfortable. And my worst case scenario is everything goes to hell and I can't do anything else. And I can only rely on my retirements. So that's what I'm looking at. And I want to have it all set up by the end of this year, which means I need to make a lot of money. Right now, I'm shit ass broke. So I got a journey ahead of me. And I'm not worried because I know I can do it because I'm, I passed the 9th grade. But what's scarier than that? Sorry, exhaling. What's scarier than that, and I brought this up earlier in the conversation, is the 15 minutes of research a day. Okay, 15 minutes a day times 365 times 50. If you want to know why I know so much, that's a big number. And that's how many hundreds and thousands of hours of research I've done in the past half century of my life. So when I tell you doing 15 minutes of research a day pays off, well, all of you are here today thinking I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I didn't even graduate high school. I didn't even finish the 10th grade. But what I've done for my whole life is at least 15 minutes of research every day for the past 50 years. Figure out how many thousands of hours of research that is, and then go Google how many actual hours of classroom time a lawyer has to sit in class and do research and to get his lawyer's degree. Do the same for a doctor. Do the same for any class you want. And you'll find out I've done more research in my last 50 years at just 15 minutes a day than those people did in 8 years of college. Huh. It's interesting how when you think about things, you should have epiphanies. Ouch, 1K per week. See, owner financing, that's the new banking system right there, brother. If you already have something and you want to sell it, owner finance it out. You'll be getting that money every month, not the bank. You just can't be greedy and want all of it all at once. Get greed, G-R-E-E-D, get it out. Kick it out of your mind. Get greed out of your mind. Look at the longevity of income and you'll live longer and happier. If you can owner finance, sell a house that you have, a second or third house you have, that's guaranteed income. And the great thing is, however you work your contract, then it'll be depending on the two parties that do the financing, you being the bank and the person buying it. If they miss 3 payments, you can take the house back. Well, you have like a 20-year time period. You know how much shit happens in 20 years? People get divorced, kids fucking go to jail, with this, that, the other. The odds of them keeping that house and not missing 3 payments in a row in 20 years is in your favor. Not because of choices that you make for them, but for choices they're going to make for themselves. So there's a chance you can sell the house 2 or 3 times, just like the bank does, without the pressure that the bank puts on people. Because you'd be the bank, you'd be able to tell them, hey, this is coming up. You need to watch out for this. And banks don't do that. And that's why it would be better if more people did owner financing. Hey, what's up, Will? You understand the hours of research makes a difference because the hours of research you have into anything is obtained and collected and added to knowledge. It expands your intellect. You can actually expand your intellect by 15 minutes worth of knowledge gaining a day, every day of your life. That's why when you drive to work, and trust me, as an iron worker, when I was in my heyday, I'd spend 3 to 4 hours on the road driving to work every freaking day, 6 days a week for years on end. Books on tape, good way to learn shit. Because you're going to spend 3 hours on the road. What are you going to do? Smoke pot and yell at people for 3 hours? You can be on your phone, illegal, unless you have hands free, talking stupid shit to other people that not gaining information for 3 hours while you're in the traffic. Or are you going to put a book on tape on the lost civilization of the Incans, or how to speak German, or scientific string theory, or something intelligent? Because if you do that and you're driving for 15 hours a week, 3 hours, 5 days a week, and you wow, dude, you should be learning languages left, right, and center in a year. It all depends on your choices in life and how you choose to live your life and how much of your life you want to increase, or do you want leisure time? Throughout my time, I've learned I like to double task. I'll smoke pot and get all leisurely timed out as I'm doing research. And now it's kind of cool. It's not really like hard. It's just, hell, I trip across information. I've done it so long. Yeah, no, it's just string theory is bullshit. It's always been bullshit. It's a lie. And no one wanted to talk about this. There's like 5 physicists, astrophysicists and stuff. There's Neil deGrasse Tyson, a couple other guys, that Oriental guy who speaks real good English. And there's like 5 of them. They've been controlling this stupid narrative of the whole industry of physics, trying to push string theory so they can make money off of it. And they've actually been freaking holding down actual research and actual real theories that are out there because they're not profitable. They're not making money. Those 5 guys aren't. So they like monetized astrophysicists sector of the fucking science until Chris Legang, smartest man in the fucking world, comes along and says, nah, they're wrong. I got a theory of everything. Prove it wrong. And all those guys just shut the fuck up because they realized what's his name? Eric Weinstein's pointed this out along with Kevin Keaton, another smart astrophysicist. I just named 3 real smart people in this world. They all have agreed that the physics has been hijacked for the past 20 or 30 years by idiots running in a direction that's a spiral downward hole. Going back to string theory is not a good theory. You're 100% correct, Gold and Silver. There is a theory that will be coming out called the theory of everything. And I've agreed with this before the dude came out with it. I've always thought of this. So I tell people to look at the other side of the coin to get the full story. Well, string theory only looked at one side. All these other theories only look at one side. Chris Legang has come up with the theory of everything, looking at everything and saying, hey, every bit of it's right. Not on its own, but in combination with everything else, and it all fits. In other words, people have been taking a jigsaw puzzle, and taking one piece of that puzzle and saying, this is right, this is everything, this is it, I own it, I have it, it's in my hand, this is it. But it's only one piece of the puzzle. There's a 30,000 piece freaking jigsaw puzzle. And then Chris Legang comes along and says, no. You're right in that section. Put that section in. Okay, you're there, stay there. That's where you're right. Now everyone else, all you other 2,999, bring your pieces in because it's called the theory of everything. And you get a more, a better look at it when you put all the pieces together to see what the actual picture is of that puzzle that has 3,000 pieces instead of each and every individual piece saying, oh no, this is the only one. And string theory is that's an analogy of how physicists are wrong because of greed, self-preservation of stature, legacy. They all fed us bullshit because they were allowed to, just like Fauci was allowed to do his thing, Gates was allowed to do his thing, so. And for anyone to go against smart people, it's real hard. I would never go against. I wouldn't challenge any of those guys. I probably could, but I wouldn't because I'm a nobody, and their stature in the industry alone would squish me and make me look like a clown before I even said one word, just because of their stature. And that's not right in physics. Anyone who has information should be able to equally put it out there without restraint or without being looked at as a jester because of their stature. And physicists has been more stature related in the past 20 years rather than structurally sound principle related. And that's going to end and change. So we're gonna see a lot of flat earthers. Oh, I gotta read this. What's it say here? Flat earthers. I was on a sub once, and when that edge sub stuck out, luckily helmsman turned quickly and we did not fall off. Let me check out some of these other questions. I was talking about string theory. Yeah, it's politicized. Exactly. Monetized is what you're saying. Anytime you say politicized, it's money monetized. Change that word up, politicized to monetized. Things make a lot better sense. And change the word from, what it is. It's called, what was the word they used for the research on the corona? Gain of function. Yeah. Change that word to weaponized and things make a lot more sense. And seriously, Will, every time you read a sentence and they use gain of function, change those words up and put weaponized, and you can see clearly what the fuck's happening. Because gain of function actually does mean weaponized in reality. Of course he is Wealth of Nations, but he's got prominence. See, that's the thing. He's on TV. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him. Everyone says he's smart. So if you say anything against everyone, well, you're obviously start off from the point of you're wrong because everyone thinks he's a great guy and knows what the fuck he's talking about. No, he monetized this shit, bro. Dude. Yeah. Too bad for all the flat earthers. Before I was like age 12, I flew over the Atlantic to Europe and America like 6 times round trip. We saw Greenland. We saw all that shit, brother. We saw, yeah, it's not flat. It is not flat. It is flat if you put it on a map, 2-dimensional map. See, now this is the thing right here. This is a dimensional thought process here. There is a flat Earth. It's just not a. It's principled. You have to think 2-dimensionally. If you are a 2-dimensional creature or a 2-dimensional thinker, yes, the Earth is flat because you can't see the 3rd dimension. From our perspective, we're 3-dimensional thinkers. So if you want to lower your elevated thought process to a 2-dimensional thought process, yes, there is a flat Earth, but you're only seeing it from a 2nd dimension. 3rd dimension shows it as a round. 4th dimension, well, we can't see that. We can see the 2nd dimension. Creatures in the 2nd dimension can't see the 3rd dimension, but they can see the 1st dimension. And that's how it works. That's where there's a theory that a Bigfoot could be a 4th dimensional creature that can interact with 3rd dimension and step in and out. And that, therefore, you wouldn't have bones of dead. You wouldn't have any of this other shit because it's a dimensional shifting creature. That theory has been thrown out and has not yet since been disproven. Actually, research in different directions of dimensional research have proven it is even actually likely that that is the possibility, but no one has put those two together yet, seriously on a scientific level for research. But in the future, if anyone does say that, you can say, yeah, Neil Holmes talking about how they could have been 4th dimensional creatures that step into the 3rd dimension, because just like we can step into a 2nd dimension and in the 1st dimension, we can't step into a 4th dimension. Things from the 4th dimension can step into the 3rd dimension, which to us would seem like, but they're not. It's just actual how it is. We're so low on the intelligence scale and dimensional scale. They call that tequila or Jack Daniels. Never been to that side of the world, guys. I hear it's nice. Here you have things over there in Australia that you just look at and it can kill you. From little bitty small freaking, what is it? It's called the blue ringed octopus that lives in tidal pools. It's like 2 inches long, total length of this octopus. Most poisonous octopus in the world. It lives in Australia. The most poisonous snake, land-based and sea-based snakes, 2 different critters, both live in Australia. Most poisonous spiders live in Australia. Most terrifying ants live in Australia. Most terrifying sharks inhabit the shores of Australia. So there's a reason why I haven't gone to Australia, no offense. And there's actually a reason why they made it a penal colony, because it's hard to get off of it. Not nowadays, but 300 years ago, it was real hard to leave without dying. They didn't, it's just like it was America and North Carolina, 400 years ago. They would ship people off to North Carolina like a prison, and they didn't have guards because they're, where the hell were you going to go? You go in the jungle, you get killed by Indians. You know what? You go jump in the water, you better swim 3,000 miles. So they weren't too concerned. Same principle was used for Australia as America. Not to be people know that America was actually used as a partial penal colonies in the 16th and 17th centuries. So does anyone want to hop up a panel? Talk some shit. And tonight's the night to do it. Well, gold and silver. Hot damn. I have hold on, wait. I might have one here. No, it's in my car. I have a mechanics flight, mechanics one-piece gear from Diego Garcia. A buddy of mine retired. He was in Diego Garcia for like 2 years. They had special jumpsuits that the mechanics that would go out on the runway would wear all the time because of the heavy winds. And because I'm an iron worker and I go up like 400 foot in the air, even in the summertime, it's fucking cold as hell. He gave me 2 of those. They are the best freaking cold weather gear I've ever had in my life. Came from Diego Garcia, from a mechanic that worked on the airplanes out in the airport. They're special gear they made just for those guys. Shit is awesome. Weed is legal in several states. Before 2026, I imagine Trump will get around to fulfilling his last campaign promise of making it medically legal nationwide. Because that's one of his campaign promises from last time from 2016 that he did not keep. That he needs to keep. And that's why you need to buy. No, you don't need to buy. You need to do research on that stock ticker right there, because as soon as Trump fulfills that campaign promise of decriminalize marijuana and medically legal marijuana throughout the 50 states nationally, not just individually states, that stock ticker, it's a medical marijuana company. It's going for less than a quarter of a penny right now. It'll probably jump up to like $10 or $20. You might want to invest $100 in that. And this is not a financial advice. I strongly suggest everyone do their own research. Hold on, I yell at a cat. It's meowing. Quiet. That's that stock ticker symbol there. That thing. As soon as Trump keeps his campaign promise, that's a guaranteed winner. But this is not financial advice. So yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Magic. The futility of leaving the colony states at the early part of the colonization, and also Australia. Where are you going to swim to? And actually, the same premise used for Alcatraz until someone actually swam away. Oh, Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I love seeing that in Pensacola in the Bayou Chico, with the peninsula I lived on was in Bayou Chico. Oh man, that stuff. You'd walk along the water and just have ripples of freaking phosphorescent plankton everywhere. Yes, those are the beginnings of the micro, not a small modular reactors are like 1 to 2 acre sites. The micro nuclear engines, micro nuclear engine, yeah, is has been perfected by Navy sub technology, and they've taken it commercial. And as I've always said, the military has the technology for at least 20 years before they turn it over for commercial usage. They did it with the internet. They allowed Bill Gates to release it. He's a rich man now. They did it with solar electric cars. They did it for Tesla. Elon Musk is a rich man now. They're doing it for nuclear energy. The gentleman who owns NME will be very rich. That's why I say the stock ticker symbol NME. Let me put this down here. Will be the stock leader of the energy markets within the next couple of years, just like Tesla was for cars, or is for cars, electric cars, just like Windows was for a long time when the computer revolution came along. All these technologies were turned over to certain people by the government so they could initiate them for commercial use. The government has had micro nuclear reactors for 50 years. The technology has been so freaking perfected, it's pathetic. So that company, Nano Nuclear Energy, is going to skyrocket because it's a government technology turned over to a corporation to be used for retail. What else is it going to do? These are just facts of the stock market. And other subsidy companies that do the same thing will jump up and jump down, and you can make money off them throughout the next several years for sure. But the one guaranteed winner will be NNE. You know, funny, Wealth of Nations and Gold and Silver. One of my bosses, whose son was a good friend of mine, his family owns a company called California Erectors up here in Northern California. They sell the company every like 10 years to different family members to keep the insurances low. His name is oh fuck, what the hell was his name? Oh shit. You guys probably know his name because he was retired. Actually, he wasn't retired. He got booted out of it, or he took a retirement out of the Navy when they reduced their nuclear naval submarine fleet, because he was a nuclear engineer on the Navy sub. What the fuck was his name? Not Branston. Damn, I can see his face. I swear his son's face anyhow. I don't recall his name right now, but he was real big in the nukes. And shit, this was like 25, 30 years ago when he was he wasn't pushed out, but they were basically offering a lot of retirement because the nuclear Navy sub fleet was decreasing in size back then. Damn, what was his name? Brian and Byron. Byron was the dad, and Brian was his son. Doyle? Brian Doyle? Was it Doyle? Yeah, they used to own Cal Erectors, and he was a nuclear submarine engineer in the Navy for like 15 years. Yes, Wealth of Nations. It's called California Erection. We made fun of him a lot because of that name. Trust me, we're ironworkers. We didn't let anything slide. It's called California Erectors, yes. My company name was Han Solo Ironworks. So you get some good ones out here in California, brother. Oh, yeah, back about 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Mr. and Mrs. West Coast Stacker. And since we got rid of nickel, we got room for one. So now, if you comment one more time, Mr. and Mrs. West Coast Stacker, I think you will find out that you have been caught with the blue meanie disease. Yeah, you guys hook up, exchange YouTube addresses. Oh yeah, it is tonight. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be a very spectacular red moon. I was going to do a video, but the time I had to do it with the information I had passed, and I was suffering my strike and couldn't advertise or post videos, so I didn't do the video. But yeah, it's supposed to be a real spectacular red full moon, more so than any other red full moons that we've had over the past decades. Yeah, this one's supposed to be real red blood moon this time. It's supposed to be a lot deeper of a red. So they said. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but. So, anyone want to pass around some good information on any cryptos or any stocks, or am I just going to be the only one to throw the shit out? Here, I'll throw some more shit out. Oh, where do I have this shit written down at? Let me get my little roller decks out, because I'm an old motherfucker. I got myself a rollers decks. Rollers in the dexes. Let's see. I'll throw it out there for you peoples. Boom. There you go. You want to look in crypto, look at one of those, if not all of them. And I'm not saying those are the only ones. There's a lot of good ones. There's way too many for any one person to research. But those ones there, if you have them, you'll be happy. The last three are good stable coins. And as far as stocks that I SFR expand. Let's see. Boom. And what was the other one? There, as far as stocks, that's my pick there. So now it's all publicized and people can copy and paste and hold me to it. Say, Neil, you're a dumbass. These things went to shit. Or you'll have to come back and say, no, I didn't copy and paste it. And you'll say, I can't validate that they were good ones. Either way, that'd be a good way to make me look bad. And I'm into that. I always talk shit so I can make myself look bad. Quiet! Your meow is annoying. So does anyone want to come up on stage? I do believe I have it pinned at the top. Yep, I do. Well, someone here must have fucking, I'm sure you've got more than those, but those are the ones I talked to you about. But Gerald did his own research too, so. See, if you were up here, you could talk better. You could type. You wouldn't have typo problems there, Wealth of Nations. See, that meow was a shadow, my black cat. I can tell my cats apart by their meows. Oh, there he goes. I don't know. It might go to 420. I see no problem with it. With okay, let me qualify this ahead of time. If the economic track we are on stays the course without too much diversion, I could see easily $250 silver going on a spike for a new all-time high level, possibly higher than that, maybe even much higher. But it would obviously come way back down low because it wouldn't be able to stay that high. As far as when I say come back down low, like I said, 250. But there's also another pathway where it gets up to around $1,300 or $1,400, and shit really changes. But now, having said that, you only cannot think of it from a mindset of it. Oh, silver's 49. If we introduce a crypto into a national reserve and all this other stuff, that $1,400 silver is not going to be an issue because you'll be getting other shit that's going to be making you money to where you'd be able to afford to buy it or buy other things. And the thought process of people under good times when they're making money is not to buy coin. It's to buy new TVs and cars. At least that's historically how it happens. So you have to have your mindset right before we go into any kind of reset or demonetization or devaluing of a dollar, thus increasing the price, however you want to look at it. The addition of the crypto is a new element, which a lot of people do not want to validate. That's going to be part of the economy, and that's going to be a big shakeup that has not happened before. You can find relative times in our monetary history where things have occurred that are similar to what could be happening with the introduction of crypto into our monetary system. As one of the videos I showed in the beginning of this broadcast, the guy was talking about back 200 years ago where banks competed with their own monetary system for you to use their monetary system. That's actually very good because competition for you as a customer means they offer you shit instead of take shit from you. When I stick money in the bank now, if I stick $5, $6 in the bank in 1 month, I got $1 because every month they charge $5. If they were competing for me to use their dollar and I had $5 in there, in a month, I'd probably have $6. You get the point of competition in a monetary system? And there is a precedence for that, like I said, about 200 years ago. Or we could go another way, or both ways, where we subsidize Bitcoin reserve. And just like he said, 10 years ago, 5 years, 8 years ago, whatever, you could buy a house with 640 Bitcoin. Price of the house was so much. Go back in the video, you'll watch. He gave the numbers. I didn't really pay attention. He said, now you can buy that same house with it being valued up for 6 Bitcoin. So therefore, the value savings I could see economically through Keynesian or any other thought process of economics, where that could actually save the dollar and make the dollar the world leader for the next 100+ years. It all depends on how the world powers want it to be. The thing is, again, America has never, there's not a country on the planet in history that is like America. So you cannot anticipate history as a foreteller of what America will do. Because again, I go back to Rome. Everyone compares, well, America's like Rome. There's absolutely zero comparison. I cannot give one example where Rome conquered a country and then paid to rebuild it so they could be their own country again. I can't think of the Greeks doing that. I can't think of the Prussians doing that. I can't think of the freaking Israelis doing it. I can't think of the freaking Israelites doing it. I can't think of the fucking Egyptians doing it. No culture, no history ever in the history of humanity has that happened. So you have to add that in to any calculation you put into the thought process of the American economy and why we will be a world power. Because without us, all you have is constantly rechanging leaders, world leaders, country leaders in the form of war and constant war. That is why the principle and the experiment of America was brought around. We are a bringer of peace. Yeah, sure, we're a warring country, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, in our lifetime, blah, blah, blah. You know how long America's been around? Our lifetime ain't shit. 80 years. America's been around 4 times that long, 3 times that long. So it don't really matter. Your little lifetime, my little lifetime ain't crap. Yeah. So in 20 years of our lifetime, 40 years of our lifetime, we've been shit. Yeah. And in that same 40 years, we've got shitty leadership because it was taken over by some other outside source with money buying it, doing it, which we're now purging from. So that's why that happened. America is still great. We still are the greatest experimental government ever created on the planet Earth, ever. You think all the people that created us want that to end? Hell to the fuck no. That ain't gonna happen. Especially if you believe there's powers beyond this earth that had anything to do with the creation of America. And again, if you go back to history and do your own research, you'll find out right before the actual big war with Washington against the English that ended actually the Revolutionary War. Well, about a month to 6 weeks before that happened, one of the generals, I do not recall his name off the top of my head, was leaving New Orleans with part of the Continental Army, running from the British that just landed in New Orleans, and the British were chasing them to hunt them down and kill them because they were, part of the Revolutionary Army. And they had to cross over 3 rivers. This is historic fact. You will have to look into. It's not easily top page. Let me Google research this and it'll show me exactly what I want to see. No, you actually have to spend time researching it like an actual human being who wants to know knowledge. But if you do spend the time doing that, you will find they crossed over 3 rivers. During time that the American Revolutionary Congressional Army crossed those rivers, they were at historic, never before archived lows, all 3 of those rivers. The British Army came behind them within a day's march behind them. Those rivers went up to historically never again seen highs, thus delaying the advance of the British regiments who were catching up with the Continental U.S. Army. But they didn't, because of those 3 rivers delayed them 3 days, allowing that regiment of the Continental Army to hook up with Washington. And also it delayed the British coming to help the other British. And that's the reason why America won the Revolutionary War. Oh my God, check out history. It's a cool fucking thing. It really is. And obviously you can tell I believe that something other than humans made America. That's why I always say God bless America and everyone here. Because I believe, honestly, he blessed us because I actually know the history of this country and compared to every other country that's ever existed. God blessed this one. Sorry. That is an interesting thing to look at. And you are 100% correct and possibly wrong. What I see quantum doing is I see it entangling with crypto and evolving it into its next evolution. But none of us know the future. But quantum is definitely, I 100% agree, not only to crypto, to the whole financial system. It's going to change, not a threat. I wouldn't use the word threat unless you want to, you see it that way, and then you can see it as a threat. I see it as an evolutionary fact. If we gain and start using quantum this and quantum that, well, quantum economy is coming, obviously. So it's not a threat, it's an inevitability. It's Thanos from the Avengers. Thanos, where he says, I am inevitable. Quantum everything is Thanos. It's inevitable. Calculated in. I don't know how, because it's still new. I don't know how they're going to use it. But they will. So stay on top of it. Like Gerald's talking about some of these new smaller cap cryptos. It's the exact same thing. It starts off small. Get in early. This quantum computing stuff, companies are out there. Dude, in 10 years, they're going to be world leaders. They're going to be the Teslas, the Googles, the freaking whoever's the top now, BlackRocks. They're going to be it. And you're going to wish you, but it's going to be the BTC, It's the next new scientific breakthrough. It's going to create for us so much things. It's going to be pathetic. AI is already doing that. And again, like Gerald's saying, some of these projects, these smaller cap projects in the crypto, are AI based. But we shall see. Future change, and I see different pathways. The end game's pretty much the same. Pathways are very important because that make or break you as far as financially, especially if you get the right road. What sucks is what you do when you do like a friend of mine did as a kid. He bought a house off of Highway 98 because it had a larger front yard because Highway 98 was a 2-lane. But according to the Pensacola City prospectus, the future of the city, they put one out. America puts one out too. 20-year guideline of what the future is going to look like. They were off. They were expanding. They're supposed to expand the Highway 98 to 4-lane, which would have given his property value. It would have skyrocketed. But because of legislative differences going on over that time period and economic differences, it till this day has not expanded to a 4-lane highway. So he's owned that house for 40 years on the hope that this perspective that Pensacola, City of Pensacola gave out of making that road a 4-lane highway would pan out, and it never did. Not yet. It will, but not yet. But that's a long time to buy a house as an investment for. So he made a shitty investment. Oh well. But that's because things change. He started down the right road. He just didn't finish his investigating and his knowledge gaining on house purchasing with the expansion of cities. And he didn't take it further than out of that county into the state and federal and worldview to see if it was actually in a progression to where it would work that way or work against that way. So he didn't continue his research. And that's why I say 15 minutes a day, every day, 365 days a year, times 10 years. That's 3,650 days. That turns out to be 15 minutes a day, 3,000. That's 700. That's 8,000 hours in 10 years of research you'll have done. In 10 years, 8,000 hours of research you'll have under your belt if you just do 15 minutes of honest research a day for 10 years. And again, I go back to say, go look at how long it takes you, hour credit hour wise, to graduate from college with an 8-year degree. It's about 4,000 hours. So you'll have twice as much research time in 10 years, spending 15 minutes a day doing research. In 10 years, you'll have twice as much research time under your belt as a person who paid to go to college for 8 fucking years. If you want to know how a 9th grade dumbass got so smart, I've been doing it for 50 years. I don't have to research what can save Social Security because I remember back in 1979 what started to kill it. I don't have to research that. As I remember, I lived there. I lived that time. I paid attention. I marked it in my memory. Then I did research on top of that. So I got double as smart over time because I paid attention to what the government was doing and saying. And I did 15 minutes of research every day. That's why it's hard to prove me wrong. I'm glad you asked Gerald to puff pass because I'm not going to pass any of my shit. This shit's too good for you guys. I'm being stingy. That and I can't put it through the computer. But that's just secondary. I can blow my head at the computer. Give you all a subliminal high. Be like a placebo. Kind of digital placebo, actually. Actually, if you think about it, it actually would be a digital placebo. You know what a placebo is? It's a it's a mind drug. For clinically blind studies on drugs, they give you have 20 patients, volunteers. They'll give 10 of them the drug that they want. They'll give 10 of them a placebo, which is it makes the person will think they're getting the drug, even though they know the doctors and the scientists know they're not getting the drug because they want to see how the body repairs itself or does whatever that drug does for itself by just you thinking you're getting that drug. Believe it or not, there's a freaking medical science dedicated just to you healing yourself because you feel like you got the drug that you needed. Just because you believe you did. You'll get a sugar pill, a placebo, something that's not real, but you were told it's real, a placebo. And you'll think it's real, and like 2 out of 10 people will heal themselves. Holy shit. Did you guys know that? Research it. It's true. It really does. It really does, magic, and it works. It shows the power of the mind. That's why I say be kind, helpful, and grateful. God bless America and everyone here. Be the best you can be today. Positivity. Positivity. Placebos work. Positivity. Also, subliminal psychological messaging. You keep saying things over and over again. It changes people's thought processes. I've been playing a lot of psychological ploys with this channel. This for the past 3 years. I'll be giving more evidence of it this year, of how several different shows I've done lead up to what's happening, and you can go back and check, and you can say, "Holy shit, he did lay it out. He did it in such a fucking nondescript way. I didn't even pay attention." And that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. But I have to lay it out that way, because if I do it any other way, I get strikes. Because the big boys don't want us knowing, and those of us that do know, they don't want us telling. So we have to do it in creative ways and hope that people have the fortitude to watch all my bullshit shows to be able to put it all together. I'm really not stupid, guys. I'm just weird. Because I'm a lot different. I questioned my fucking kindergarten teacher about what she knew and how she thought she knew it to tell me. How many kindergartners do you know? I got kicked out of 2nd grade because the whole year I was telling my teacher she was a dumbass. And she was. I was put down here for a reason. I don't know what that reason was, but telling people they're wrong apparently is one of them. I've been doing it my whole damn life. The only problem is, if you're like younger than 18, people don't take you seriously. They just put you in a category and stick you in a box and throw you in the fucking closet. But anyhow, you do that shit and a war comes along and crazy motherfuckers get sent to war. All kinds of cool shit happens. Not that I'm telling a life story right now. Just saying. Same with a lot of groups. A lot of groups do that. Here's some information for you guys, and I've said this several times on my show. As far as integration, if you ever hear any freaking Southerner, south of the border person saying, "Well, it's our culture, it's our this," I don't give a fuck. Here's why I say that. It's not that I'm impersonal or I'm a hater. No, I'm all about equality. And I have actually read how things worked on Ellis Island when all those immigrant boats with sails on sailboats, when they still had sailboats, and those little spinning wheel boats, what were they called? Steamboats. Remember those? Back in those days when people came to Ellis Island, they actually turned away a lot of people because they were not fit to enter America. Not like nowadays where if you come from south of the border, you can just cross. Who gives a fuck what disease you have? We don't care. But see, when it was mostly Europeans, mostly Germans and Irish and Scottish coming across, they turned a lot of them away. And here's an interesting question for you. Why do we have so many people with the last name of Brown and Smith? When was that name created? Look at genealogy and family names. And yes, those names have been around a while, but not to the extent they are now. The last name specifically of Brown and Smith became very popular during immigration periods after World War I and World War II, when all the Brahms and Smites, both German names, their whole cultures got wiped out. Because the first thing America did was say, no, you are no longer a German Dietrich Brahm. You're Derek Brown. Boom, birth certificate. Here you go, Derek Brown. That was it. And he was happy. He came across, he started speaking English. He became an American as Darren Brown when his actual name was Dietrich Brahm. The day before that, a German, a proud German. And then the next day, his whole culture was wiped out. That happened in the 40s, guys. 90 years ago, 85 years ago. So when someone comes across the border illegally and says, oh, it's our culture, don't feel bad to tell them go get fucked. Come through the right way. Because our whole culture was wiped out. Why is yours better than ours? That's the question I have. Why is their culture better than ours? Ours was wiped out. I'm German Scottish. I've said this before. I know about the German heritage. I've got, oh, wait. Here's, nope, not going to show it. Sorry. I was going to show you all a picture, a map of 52 internment camps. The United States government to this day does not exist. They will say, no, they did not exist. We've apologized to Japan for the 46 internment camps where we had Japanese Americans in there, but not one mention of apologies to the German Americans that were in 52 quote unquote containment camps, just like the Japanese. No apologies for them. Why? Because they're German? Because you want to crush their heritage? Because you want to be racist and we accept it? Hey, truth fucking hurts, doesn't it? Once you find out, it's hard to forget. Yep. So when you talk about crushing cultures in America, don't let them feed you no bullshit. That's all I got to say. Because if the Spanish want their culture, I welcome it. Let's change all the names of Smith and Brown back to their original. Let's see exactly if, hold on, wait, here's another fact. If in 1947, 48, not sure in the year, a national census was put out. What should be the national language? You want to know one reason why Trump just now made English national language? Back then, they did a study, a census, and came back 51% of Americans at the time wanted German as our national language. Isn't that fucking weird? Did you guys know that? That's why we didn't make English the national language, because in the census, our country wasn't in the right mindset because we were too German and they hadn't killed our culture off yet. But now they have. Also, all facts, every bit I just said is 100% factual. So if you learn this shit and then you hear crap they're feeding us now, and you actually know real history, you can say, why are you special? This is what they did to my people when they came across. And look at what happened to me. And now I'm a bitch, piece of shit ass, because my people went through all this shit and I'm still here. I'm a piece of shit. Oh, okay. Just because you don't know history, I'm a piece of shit. Right on. Fuck you. If you want to know why I don't have that many friends, because I know too much. A lot of south of the border people don't like accepting that reality. I have a lot of problems with black friends. I do have a lot of black friends. I actually have 3 black families that have adopted me. I can go over to their houses right now, have dinner with them. They'd have no problem with that. Neil, you hungry? We'll brace you out late. I'm not racist. I'm factual. I'm not sexist. I'm factual. Men and women have never been equal. I have never had the physical skeletal structure beyond any sex. Skeletal structure. My hips are not designed for birth. We have a skeletal differential before you go into anything else, before you go into biology, chemistry, or anything else. We have a skeletal difference between a man and a woman. Now layer it further. Look at the muscles, look at the veins, look at the nervous system. Now look at the internal organs. Where the fuck are we the same? Where the fuck are we the same? Hold on, now we come to an economy. Oh, now we have to be the same. Well, the differences are there. How can you fucking interject that they're not? It's insanity. Yeah, that's what it is. It's insanity. But anyhow, see magic, or excuse me, I try and let people know on information, and I encourage you to think I'm lying. So you research it yourself, because I don't give a crap about giving you factual information as much as I care about you fact-checking me. Because in you fact-checking me with this new information, you're going to have a lot of new knowledge, and you're going to get your 15 minutes of knowledge gained that day because of me. And that's what I'd rather have. I'd rather have all 8 of you get a little smarter because you did your own research, fact-checking me to see if I was full of shit or not. That would make me freaking happy as hell. Because then I know that I've just helped change the world because hopefully you'll do the same to 8 people. And all of a sudden, in 2 days, 64 people could have a changed reality. And then 8 times 64, and then 8 times that. And whew, it wouldn't be long before we could change the world. I'm actually dangerous. I can see why they don't want me ganging up with other people. I just need pink in the brain. That was one hell of a hit. Me, Pinky, and the brain will take over the world, baby. No, I have no interest in that shit. Too complicated. I just want my own piece of the world. Let other people deal with anything more than that. It's too complicated and too hard to hold on to. You get too much good shit going. Too many people want to steal it from you. That's why the new way of being and staying rich will be to elevate others when you get elevated. So that way you're surrounded by people that are wealthy because of you. So that way you don't have to worry about them cutting your throat, because if they cut your throat, they're cutting their own throat. So you have a more cohesive environment of people that you can actually talk to. Well, I have a cat named Ginger. She was given to me. She's actually looking to, nope, she just ran away. She was looking to jump on my lap. Are you talking about Ginger Root? Oh, you made me snort like a pig on that. That was funny. Yeah, everyone's full of crap. It all depends on what is relevant that they're talking about, no matter how intelligent they are or what intelligence they're giving or knowledge they're giving. It's how relevant it is to your life. And that's a personal thing on the other person. And that's where everyone's ends up being full of crap, because statistically, only 8% of people out there have the same similar thought processes. This comes from retail sales numbers. 8% of people out there will think 80 to 85% similar to you on an idea, right? So when you go to someone for a sales pitch, psychologically, you got to be able to have that small word pitch and the visual pitch capture more 8%. So in other words, people that aren't like you or don't think like you have to also agree with that pitch. So it's your job to get the wording and the visuals to where more of those 8%, because if you can get like 5 people to like what you're doing, that's 40%. Each of them having 8% of the population's general thought processes, because you can't census 9 billion people to get an accurate numbers. So they discovered there's different thought perspectives, and they broke them down to 12. And that means, 12 into 100 is 8, so 8%. So if you get 12 people, unless they think alike, you're going to have basically a wide range of perspectives on the retail item that you're selling. So if you can encompass more in your 30 seconds, word wise and visual wise, of the different aspects of people's thought processes, you get more sales. And that's how it sells. So there's a psychology to it, is what I'm getting at. Well, that is true, Debbie. That is true. But it comes down to hey, you guys quit that. Obviously, you heard there was a little cat fight real quick. And it ended real fast because they always listen to me. Anyhow, back to see. Yeah, if they don't know, they don't have self-spend. I've had those thoughts, and I agree, but there's an asterisk there with the but, obviously. single mom, single dad, working 2 jobs, trying to make a living. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot harder for those kind of people to give up that 15 minutes. I actually had the pleasure, I guess to say, my friend at the time, this was like, oh shit, fuck, 35 years ago, 40 years or 35 years ago, somewhere around there. He and his wife had their first kid. She had postpartum and depression, and she didn't want to be around the kid for the first 6 weeks of the kid's life. And my friend Ricky was a tattoo artist, had his own tattoo shop. He had to go to work. His wife took off to the mom's, so left him with this newborn. So obviously I became, mom and dad for the little kid for about 6 weeks. First one she ever threw up on, was kind of claim to fame, I guess, as far as parenting goes. But people go through things, is what I'm saying. And life happens to people and puts them in areas where the last thing they're thinking of is to learn something. So you can't really have that as 100% guaranteed. They only have themselves to blame. Yeah, they do. But, life, there's so many people out there in life that throw shit on other people for their own greedy gain that it takes away our options. The more people out there like that do things for their own greed, that take away from us our freedoms to choose because of their greed, and our obligations that we've had lock us into, a downward spiral. And that's kind of our economy in a nutshell, actually. So I do have, I have a problem with, that. And that's why I have my channel. And I like Nickel. I've allowed him to come up here. I've tried, but there's a limit. There's a limit. And certain people you just can't get through to. So then I just go back to biblical times where it says, it's going to be a lot of people out there that are soulless. You shouldn't waste your time on. So then and right or wrong, it's my privilege to do this in my life. It's my life. If I determine a person's not worth it, I don't waste my time on them. So if you want to stay intellectually tied to me, don't make me think you're consecutively stupid and don't get it. Just for an answer, have a discussion and get the answer. It's more intellectually appropriate. Or even do a debate if I offer it, which Nickel didn't do. So he's had several opportunities. He chose his path. You just seen a live version of how I handle things after a certain amount of time. I give people lots of chances. If you consecutively, and if you do it intentionally, good for you, for whatever your purposes are. Good for you. Goodbye. I don't care. My last feeling got ran over, 30 years ago. Now I only care about animals. And, hearing myself talk and watching some type come across my computer, that is interesting. That's the extent of my life. No, it's not. I do a lot of research. It's fun. It's enjoyable. After so many years, it's like fucking... Dude, I have sat down and had conversations with 20-year theologians, guys that never stopped studying and still didn't get all, and to their own, they'll even tell you, no, I don't know shit, because they realize the more they learn, the more they don't know. And that's the great thing about knowledge. It makes you stupider, even though everyone else sees you as smarter. You're like, yeah, if you only knew how stupid I was, because I don't get this shit yet. And we shouldn't. We're only 3 dimensions of a 12-dimensional ladder. We're not even a quarter of the way there. We shouldn't get it. We're not even thinking properly. We don't even have a theory of everything. We don't even know how our physics can take us faster than light speed travel or any of this other crap. So we're not supposed to know everything. I'm liking you more and more, gold and silver. Obviously, I got that. Everyone's reality is real to them, and that makes even the most mental patient's reality, scary as it is, part of our reality. And when all these realities intersect, that's when we have our world. I think the way Chris Lagan explains it is consciousness. This is the word he uses, is consciousness. And we have an intermingling of so many consciousnesses. You have issues. But yeah, now what you got to do with that statement is qualify it a little bit. We, yes, okay, yes, technically we are part of everything. I actually have scientific documentations that can physically show that, like mycelia, it's a network of the fungi that runs underground under our feet. They've also found it in asteroids and on other planets. It's also underneath their epidermis layer. You have a cellular level of mycelia. So every human on this planet is literally connected to the earth and the stars through mycelia. That's a fact. It's just found out a couple of years ago that mycelia was actually in asteroids, but it's a fact. So yeah, in that sense, we are a part of everything. In a philosophical sense, we're also in pretty much every sense. It just depends on how you look at it. If you look at it religiously, yeah, everything's alive, and well, if you look at it religiously, you got to look at consciousness, and that separates that a little more. And then you get into different types of religions. So you got to focus on certain religions and make qualifying statements about those religions or before you make your statement. But yeah, technically we are a part of everything that's important, shall we say. So obviously the earth and the sky are as important as we are, or the earth and the stars, because there's mycelia out in this space under our feet and in our bodies. And that's factual. There's no doubt about that. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone being here. I'm going to wind this down unless we have some other interesting questions or perspectives that want to be put up there. I appreciate each and every one of you. My mom's family PRs in Norway, Holland, Italy. My dad's Palestinian family came from Rome. Rome. Okay. Now, okay. Historically, I'm gonna play with you on this one. I hope you don't mind gold and silver. Eastern Roman Empire or the Western Roman Empire? That also tells a time period, because we didn't have an Eastern or a Western Empire until a certain time period of the Roman Empire. And actually, the Western Roman Empire died first, which is the Roman Empire we consider Rome, with the Eastern Roman Empire still in existence. Capitalized is in Constantinople. A lot of people have a historical different problems with that perspective, because they don't realize that there was an East and a West Roman Empire, and only one of them fell. The other one was actually, well, it was conquered and integrated. So if you came from, I would say, even though you say Palestine family came from Rome, I would believe that would be when Rome was still one empire and not the East and West Empire, which would lead me to believe that you probably had more Vandalgoth, or there was another section of people that the Roman Empire conquered and integrated into their society, and then they sent them out to the outer colonies, which Palestine would have been an outer colony, before Eastern Roman Empire got started, making Constantinople its capital. At that point in time, most of the Eastern Rome descendants from that time period onward, a majority percentage was Middle Eastern descent. So if your family name on your dad's side came from Palestine while there was an Eastern Roman Empire, you would probably be more, he would probably be more of Middle Eastern descent. But if you say he was from Palestine before the break, or before the separation of Eastern and Western Roman Empire, then he would probably be Scandinavian. Yeah, I know there was a lot of gold and silver. I'm sorry, bro. The reason why I say that is, and I'll give you a unique perspective. Mine, I say I'm Scottish and German. My brother did spend the money to do a genealogical search, a significant one, not the cheap one. And he actually took my two nephews, his kids and his wife, to a town in Norway where, because he checked out my mom's name, the Sutherland, the Scottish part. And he wanted to trace it back as far as possible. And he traced it back to the, what was it, the 10th century? Yeah, 10th century, end of the 9th century, beginning of the 10th century. The last documented paperwork trail of the Southern family name that he was tracing that we're genetically tied to came from a town in Norway, 10th century, 9th, 10th century. On my dad's side, really couldn't trace it down that much because Germany hasn't been around for like 200-300 years, maybe 4. Really in the time, it hasn't been around that long. And what they determined was my father, the Han name, was actually a descendant of Mongolian. When Genghis Khan came across with his horde and conquered, and then ended up being called back to the empire and dying, and most of his horde was left in Europe, and they integrated into European population. Well, in the Germanic area, the Mongolians intertwined, I guess, with the Germans, or what would be known as Germans later. And the Mongolian genealogy is intertwined with the Germanic tribal countries. So my father's surname of Han, actually probably about 600 to 800 years ago, was actually Khan. And when they got left in the Germanic areas, because they were abandoned there, as most armies are, they integrated and changed the name to Han, just like the story I told you about how the Germans' names were changed from Brahm and Smite here in America to Brown and Smith. A similar thing happened, not in as timely a manner, but when you integrate, you end up changing your name and becoming part of the society. And the Mongolians who were left in the Germanic areas became Germanesque and were bred out their color. But my dad actually was small and dark. So you could actually see the Mongolian gene in my dad. Dark hair. Me and my brother are total Sutherland. We totally took after my mom. Yeah, Gerald, it's not actually German history at that point in time because the country of Germany is kind of vague as far as as having a solid boundary border country, government. I think it's more 300 to 400 years. But the Germanic, that's why I used the word Germanic, and I'm not sure I used the proper word, but the history of the people of that area of what's known as Germany, I consider probably improperly, but I consider that word to be a Germanic population, because you had a lot of Vikings that intertwined with them that came down from the Norse, but they weren't Norse. They were Germanic or European, quote unquote, barbarians or tribes. If you follow Western history, they were barbarians when they actually weren't barbarians. They were very sophisticated society, but the truth hasn't been told on that because they lost, and the losers don't write history, the winners do. So they're still portrayed as barbarians. And I actually did a video where about 2,500 years around the time beginning of Rome, the whole central part of Europe was controlled by one nation, and they had their own monetary system that discovered over 25 sites of hoards of treasure throughout all of Eastern and Central Europe in different countries, all the same type of monetary system. And they're right now, and it'll be taught in colleges in probably 10 or 20 years after they get all the knowledge together and documented. But there was an actual, and I believe they're going to finally eventually tie it in with what they call the Dogland Society, which is actually a part of the Celt or the Pict culture, which is actually my family integrated with around the 11th century, 10th, 11th century, when they moved from Norway down into northern Scotland. Then the name changed to Sutherlander because they actually moved south, even though it was North Scotland. That's how I learned all this shit when I did the study name of the Sutherlands. And the Sutherlands and St. Clairs are like cousin, they're real close family. And of course, we know the Sinclairs started the Templars. So there's another history of study I did. Yeah, I went out and looked earlier, and there's only a certain part of the world where you'll see it as red, and it'll be for a short time period, maybe for a couple minutes. It's when it's 100% eclipsed by the Earth, that the solar radiation bends around the Earth and hits the moon, that it causes it to go red because the pollution around our planet, I believe, the natural pollution, not man-made. Well, maybe, I doubt it. Natural pollution that we have, not particulates in the air, shall we say, not pollution, particulates in the air. All right, man, I'll talk to you later. Like I said, I'm fixing to end this anyhow. I've been going for about almost 3 hours now. Yeah, it's only 10 o'clock here. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream. I appreciate everyone for being on here, and I appreciate you asking questions and filling us in with your, yeah, and there you go. Filling us in with information and your own personal research that you've done. And Gerald has done research on this one. So do your own research on it, but definitely check out Undo. And with having said that, I hope you all have a great evening. See you Sunday.